We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And hello, everybody. We're live and here about to talk to you about Fear the Walking Dead's eighth episode in its eighth and final season, titled Iron Tiger. We're live with you right now. Hi, Aurelian Grime on Instagram. Hello, Emily.
Lois.
On YouTube. Walking Dead Eternal on YouTube. David Cron's on YouTube. Aiden on YouTube. Hey, we're live again. Isn't that
Happy
a trip?
Halloween.
Aiden says Helotus. Is that, what the heck is that? I mean, I know what Otising is, but what is Helotusing?
That means hello, unless you get in my way, and then I will push you.
Hello, I'm gonna shoot you in the leg.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a conditional hello. Like, don't piss me off.
Hey, Jason.
Helotus.
Hey, Jason Cohn, whom we saw during this episode of Fear the Walking Dead from the corner of the screen. How you doing there, Jason Cohn, with your little goggles? I love them. Anyway, David Carranza, Walking Dead Eternal. I changed my picture. I don't know if... See, I can't see it from our end.
It's literally the tiniest
Right,
thing.
it's so little, I can't see it.
It's so little. I can't tell.
Yeah. Well, let's get to cleanup. Let's get to housekeeping. Because we have quite a bit that we wanted to share with you. Well, we did a Snap charity auction, meaning it was hastily put together for our dear friend Takira, who otherwise is called Connie Dixon for Life. That's ko-fi.com/Connie Dixon, the number 4 LYFE. And the reason why I'm saying her Ko-fi link is because she still could use a little help. Now, what we managed to do on Sunday was we actually managed to raise just under $1,000 for her. The goal was set absurdly high to $4,000 for some reason. I don't know why I did that. Again, hastily put together. I meant to put $1,400. So she's just $400 shy from her goal, which she could really use. Now, what we did was we gave away some of her collection. We helped her give away some of her collection, and some generous folks like Suki Martinson helped us by donating 2 prints. Linda Peck Athens, Bridget Linda by way of Bridget had a print of Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show, which she was willing to give up. And Linda herself gave up a commission. Renee 365 2005. Renee Larchevêque, who does the giveaways on Sunday and Walking Dead Day, our lovely Renee, actually also gave us a signed by Norman Reedus copy of his book, The Ravaged, which I won, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was me. I still have to check the list of things. Anyway, generous.
You won like everything.
Generous people.
I won Cara Dune and the Child Pops.
Funko Pops, yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I won nothing.
I think, didn't I give you something?
And I did not win.
Didn't I give you something? I can't remember.
No, someone offered to give me something, and it was like all stuff that I had. And I was like, no, I'm good.
I'm good. Which is like, you were like very awkwardly going, I'm good. No, I don't mean that in a mean way or spiteful way. No, I have these already. I don't mean to in your usual Bridget way. But anyway, I say all this because there's still time it's the 31st. And as you know, bills normally need to be paid, like rent and car payments and stuff like that, on the 1st. So if you could find it in your hearts to, after this stream, just write it down on a piece of paper like a Luddite. Write down ko-fi.com/Connie Dixon for Life. That's Connie Dixon, the number 4 LYFE. And consider maybe tipping her. You can do it during the stream. You can multitask. Consider tipping her on her Ko-fi page. That will go directly to her, not to us, and it'll benefit her greatly. So consider that. Some other bit of housekeeping was, well, of course, like you said earlier, Happy Halloween. Second of all, happy 13th anniversary of the first episode of The Walking Dead. That's another cool thing, right? I love how it's intrinsically tied. But more than that, because it's the best thing, other than those two things, I feel like I'm a jerk saying this. It's our anniversary as a podcast. Technically. Well, technically it's not. Technically it's sometime in October, maybe even September. We recorded these episodes, I don't know when, and then we re-premiered them sometime just before Halloween. So we just say Halloween is our anniversary. It's like my dad and his birthday. My dad doesn't know when his birthday is. This is very common in the Middle East. He does it. So he picked a day, a random day in the year he was born. He said, that's my birthday, November 29th, 1949. Now you know how my dad is. There you go. So, yes, it's our anniversary. We just closed 6 years of podcasting, and we're just jumping into our 7th year with this episode that we're about to talk about called Iron Tiger, the 8th episode in the 8th and final season. I've talked enough, I think. But wait, there's one more thing. We actually put up 2 Fear the Walking Dead logo designs in our merch store. I thought maybe people might be interested in one or the other. Maybe if you don't like the highlighter yellow version of the logo, there's this blue burst version of it with the Squawking Dead logo, a little bit more speckledy on the stroke on the edges. So consider going to our merch store. And we did have a sale over the weekend if you didn't take advantage of it. And some people did, actually. We had $16 t-shirts and up to 35% off the rest of the store. There will be another sale very soon, and I will let you know about it very shortly. But keep checking our merch store every day, because sometimes, well, hopefully soon, we might even have an art design for the final episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out the concept first before I dive into it. And listen, I talked enough, so let's see what you have to say. Hi, Aiden, David Granza says. No, I'm just kidding. And Aiden says, it was just a fancy hello. Hellotus.
Notice.
And David Kronza says, David, the shirt. Yes. Yes. It's the old Fear the Walking Dead Season 4A or 5A design. Yes. And Sharon D has the actual Season 4A design, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Sometimes 4 and 5.
I'm just wearing pumpkin.
Wait, this is 5A. This is 5A technically. So this is the 5A logo design, and Sharon D has the art design, which are no longer in the stores because AMC said, cut it out. Cut it out.
Cease and desist.
Cease and desist.
Strand. And who else is? I can't see.
Strand, Lucy, Charlie, John, June. I think somebody. Dwight? No, Dwight wasn't there yet. Right?
Somebody.
He might have been there. I don't know. Anyway. So this logo design you can't get anymore because we changed our logo to the fancier, more ethically sourced font because we made it ourselves. But anyway, is she coming on the live?
So with you.
So Walking Dead Eternal asks, is she coming on the live?
Takira.
Oh, Takira. On this live, no. She's a little bit busy right now taking care of some finances. Also, she's not a Survivors team member anymore. So
I don't know if she's here.
she is not here yet. No, she's gonna be doing. I know she's gonna be doing like a live tweet of.
Well,
found.
she's live tweeting, but that's at 10.
That's at 10. Okay, but she will. But she's in a different time zone, so sometimes this happens. She'll oversleep or she'll they're on at 8, but 8 my time, which is 9 our time. So it happens. It happened to my original co-host.
Time zones are screwy.
Yeah. Okay. So Walking to Eternal says this episode made so many cameos. We'll get to that in a minute. Dave Cron says, congratulations, David. It's congratulations to all of us, baby. Even you, David. You've been on.
Carranza he loves you the most, Dave. So that's why.
I'm trying to defray his love, and I'm trying to spread it to all of you too. Walking to Eternal says, happy anniversary of the channel.
I think Carranza and Aaron are gonna team up on you and make you say,
"I love you." I don't have to say. I'll say I love you freely. It's not like Aaron. Aaron, he has to work for it. Anyway, that's an inside joke for those of you who don't know Aaron after all these years. Aiden says, I typed that early, but I just realized it didn't send. Okay, well, this is better late than never. Lois says, I hope Madison turns into a walker. And with that, everybody, let's talk about this episode. Now, I want to start off with Sharon in terms of first impressions because she had said something to me that to the effect of you might be surprised by my review of this episode or my overall impression of this episode, I think. Or I think you said this in relation to Madison, too.
No, I said other than Madison.
Other than, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I heard what I wanted to hear. Anyway. Okay. As usual, right? All right, so let's start with Sharon. What are your first impressions of this episode?
All
And
right,
while you're
so-
talking about it, we want to know what you thought overall, not specifics, just overall. If you
Right.
liked it, if you didn't like it.
Considering it did not have my favorite character in it, and it had my most hated character in it,
The other blonde.
I really liked this episode, especially
Oh, twist!
especially along the bar set by season 7 and 8, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
That's what I was
I'm
thinking.
not
too.
gonna place it. I'm not gonna place it in 4, 5, or 6 level, right? But for season 7 and 8, this was okay.
Comparatively
right? This was
speaking.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still can't stand Madison. Like I just it's like this beautiful painting, and someone just wiped a big boogie across it. Like
It's not that, you know what? It wasn't, it was just that you used the word boogie. Booger
It's-
would have been like, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, sorry.
it felt a little less offensive to say boogie,
That's
just a little.
very considerate.
But for real, I just cannot stand Madison to the point that if like can somebody just erase her out of the show and just have everything else going on, because I'd be totally fine with that.
No. Okay, that's all my protest will consist of. Anyway.
But I did really like this episode, man. That was the walker. I know you didn't say specifics, but I just want to say the walker at the beginning with the starfish on the face.
Yep.
That was sweet. That was
Played,
sweet.
I should say, played by Jeff Wagner. Our friend Jeff.
Right,
our friend, I guess, Jeff Wagner.
That was some sweet makeup going on right there.
Yeah. Good job.
And I mean, I liked this. It actually had somewhat of a story. Like there was actually something going on that you could pay attention to that made sense.
And a theme, too.
Mostly, and it was super awesome to see Lucy and Charlie.
Whoop, whoop. For a while. Try not to get sad this episode. All right.
No, I'm not sad. I'm mad.
I'm not mad.
No, I'm mad, and I know you don't want specifics, but we'll get to that because I'm mad
Yeah.
about it.
Why don't we move on to Yeah, let's move on to
Emily.
Bridget before we get to everybody else.
Emily, hold on. Emily just said, I feel like Kim's been kind of, I think it said directed wrong, though, I fear.
Mm-hmm.
I also, and I know you're a big Kim fan, and I'm sorry if this hurts your feelings. It's not my
I am a
fault,
big Kim fan. I know you're
but
talking
I
about
feel
Emily.
like I feel like Kim Dickens really just doesn't want to be there. Like, I feel like she doesn't really, like she's phoning it in. I feel like she's really phoning it in a whole lot. Like, I don't feel
so-
like she really wants to be a part of this anymore.
So this is my opinion on it because there really is a difference in her acting
Even from
Now-
season 4. Because
from
I
season 4 to now.
I liked Madison in season 4.
So I feel like I think sometimes this gets kind of swept under the rug, but like when you step away from a character for a long time and you're like, I'm never coming back to that, because essentially she was told like you're never coming back to this. When you walk away from a character for a long time, I know that it could be difficult to get back into it. I'm not saying it's that way for everybody. I'm not saying, I'm not like making excuses for her or anything, but
It happens.
I think, yeah, it's almost like she can't quite find herself again. Like she can't quite find Madison
Well,
again.
I mean, and the show is so different from when she was on it,
yeah.
right?
And,
But I also
so
I
think-
just feel
I
like
think
she's
some
just
of it-
not. Her heart's not in it, is what I'm saying. She just feels like her heart is just not in this character anymore.
that, I mean, you
and
put it to
she's
rest, right?
just
Like
phoning
you put
in.
it,
Right.
you put it to rest when you were done. So like I could see that being, I could see it being hard to come back to it and be the Madison you were, so many years ago, 4 years ago, more because of the pandemic. But I I just wanted to say that I feel like there's something. It's like she just can't quite connect. She can't quite get there. But I felt like this episode was better than the previous one. There was more of the Madison character that I remember
Yeah.
in this.
And I'll even
Uh,
say, I'll add to that too, because I feel like her performance in this episode actually made a little bit more sense of the last episode for me, right? Because you take those two episodes together, you're starting to see that maybe there's a little bit of intentionality in the way she's acting. I mean, not the way that Kim Dickens is acting. Hold on, let me just distinguish
Oh, okay. I
between.
see what you're saying. I see
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying.
The way
I see what you're
Madison
saying.
is acting,
right.
right?
I could
And
see
we
that.
I also want to lay some of this at the feet of the writers because
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
giving her it's
It's the
like
dialogue.
how do you present this dialogue and sound convincing for the most part,
I've been
right?
I've been actually
Especially when some of
noticing.
it is so
I'm
literal.
gonna lay some of that at the feet of the writers, but I'm not letting her completely off the hook because, like I said, I just feel like her heart is not in it. She doesn't really want to be there doing this, and like maybe she thought she did, and then she got back and was like, "Oh my god, I forgot. This is what I have to do," or like, "Oh my god, this is what they've done to my character when I agreed to come back."
Well, I
Right?
mean, you're ready to come back and you're not even at full capacity of the character that you were before.
Like,
Like,
And you can't be because you're hobbled by
no,
this lung
by this
condition,
error
smoke
in the
inhalation.
writing.
the wheezy,
Well, no,
baby
I mean,
stealing,
yeah, it's like
oxygen
this and
junkie.
that. You have to do a
Yeah.
lot as an actor to kind
Yeah.
of maintain that,
Yeah.
right? But
I'm not making I don't want to I'm not like an apologist. I liked Madison. I feel like she again, my statement about her has always been that she's been really self-destructive. So this isn't coming from a place of like I
malice,
stand Madison and I'm so excited. Like that's not where
I
it's
do.
coming from.
It's fine.
I do want to be fair. I do want to be fair because it's been a long time. And I think I haven't acted professionally, but I have acted and it can be quite hard to get into a character and I can only imagine leaving it and coming back to it so many years later.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I think for me though, I listen. We can disagree on the show. I've though we've talked about how I have talked about how in every role that I feel like Kim Dickens has ever been in, I haven't really dug her acting. And I have said that on this show it makes sense. The way her character is almost silent for the most part. Silent, it's like a fart. She's silent but deadly for the most part. She hasn't her dialogue has always been an economy of words, and she's done a little bit more in terms of physical acting. Like it's more about where she's being directed rather than it's kind of like in some senses I feel like in that respect she's a lot like Daryl. I don't know if that makes sense to you in that you mostly put on her than rather than what she exhibits. So
Okay,
previously, do
I
you
could
see what I'm
see
saying?
that. I could see that, but we have someone who is like the absolute goat at that then, and then we have this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
I wouldn't even say he's
Norman's
the
acting
goat
is
at that, but that's just
he is
my opinion.
completely different. He's completely different.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like that, not exactly like that.
I get what you're saying. You had asked for my opinion on the episode though, and I
No, I
didn't
haven't
give
yet.
that.
So I did want to say one
Yes,
more
you
thing.
did.
I ignore myself. Sometimes I trick you into things, and
Whatever.
no, oh, you know what? We said what we said about. I'm gonna move on from that point. That's fine.
Okay.
I think it's fine. It's fine. Oh, no, there is one more thing. I'm so sorry. I did want to say that what you're noticing maybe about her dialogue, and this is my main critique, is that I feel like, to your point about the writers, in terms of specifically dialogue, because I happen to really enjoy the story right now, I feel like there's a lot. You know how, I don't know if you know what I mean when I say an economy of words, that sometimes when you have dialogue, you want the words that come out of the actor's mouth to have as much impact as possible. But it's a lot of I'm gonna this and I'm gonna that, and it's a lot of just throwaway dialogue almost. I'm not saying that some of the words that they're saying doesn't play into the story, but what I am saying is that I feel like they're just having a plain conversation most of the time, and it doesn't help Kim become Madison. Does that make sense what I'm saying right now? There's like a lack of economy of words. Like the words that they're saying could have more impact if the words were more deliberate.
One of the things that annoyed me the most about this episode is that when sh at the end she's like, Troy, why are you doing this? And he's like, because you took everything from me and I'm gonna do the same to you. But you just said that last week, twice last week. Why
Yeah.
did you have to say it again? We know why is this the dialogue? You couldn't come up with something better or something else to go in that spot other than
It's
rehashing the exact same dialogue you had last week?
it's like
Or
it's written to be standalone episodes. So
well,
like you've
I
never
know,
seen it before.
and
So
like, well, here's how I feel about that. Anybody coming into this show to watch this show is not going to start on this episode. You do not have to explain everything to us. We've been
no.
watching. You are not. I understand it when you have a show
Right.
that's
That's the
in the first couple seasons and like they have to give you a little exposition for new
Mhm.
viewers or whatever, but this is not that. Nobody's starting in this episode. Please do not write to us like we're beginners.
like we're toddlers. Yeah.
Continue the story.
This is continuing the
Continue
theme
the
of the
story.
first half of the season. Like
Mhm.
where it was being
Yeah.
overly explained. I,
Don't
I didn't have
I
that
don't
problem so
need you
much
to
with this
tell me
episode.
what you exactly what you told me last week. I don't need you to tell me that again.
Right. Right. Okay, so Bridget, let's overall impressions of this episode.
Why are you chopping me?
Yeah. I did a finger guns. Two of them actually, I think.
So I did like this episode. There are some things that I take issue with. It predominantly has to do with the writing, so I'll get to that when we get to those scenes. There's just some things that I was like, that's weird. But there were also some really cool things in this episode, like little nods to things from the past. And I really, really, really loved that.
We know how
I
Sharon Day loves
really,
that too.
this is, if we're treating this like a final season, like a true final season, then you do really have to start to tie up all these loose ends, really wrap stuff up, bring things full circle. So I was glad to see some of that happening.
And to their point, at least with this season, there's been no shortage of that at least. They have been kind of coalescing. They've been kind of calling back to prior seasons and invoking them as well, showing us
Did you
references in
see
their
the
own way.
Billy Bass on the wall?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Also,
There
that's
was a
something I
couple
meant.
actually.
I meant to bring it up last week and I forgot. In the library, one of the pictures on the wall behind them was Edgar Allan Poe.
Quoth the Raven.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. An interesting thing is in I think it's in Savannah, is where Annabelle Lee, the subject of the poem Annabelle Lee,
Right.
is supposedly buried in Savannah. I think so.
What?
That's why the picture. That might be why the picture of Edgar Allan Poe was in there.
Oh, that's
Which
cool.
actually brings up an interesting theory that I heard today. I can bring it up now.
Bring it
if
up
you
now.
want, or
Yeah. Sorry, Bridget.
Okay. No, no. Do you want to keep going? Because
No,
No,
I'm good. I'm
this
good.
it'll
is
I'm
fly
something
out
that
of
can
our heads.
definitely
It
wait.
won't be there when we
Okay.
get back. That's
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
problem.
So we're gonna skip ahead to the end and talk about Tracy. And the theory that I heard today is that Tracy is Alicia's daughter.
I've heard
So
that too.
here's my question. It would have to be what's the dude's name that was in the tunnel with her?
Will?
Oh,
Will?
well,
It would
yeah.
have to be Will, right? It would be the only
Possible.
Like
that
that's the
was
reason she was sick. It was just
It
like really
wouldn't
severe
though.
morning sickness.
well
It
no
wouldn't though because it's 7 years have passed. So
well
Well, we don't know
in
how old Tracy is.
that's why I said
well,
it could be.
does age matter on the show? Because
There you go.
No.
You have your
the
answer.
6 year olds look like they're 15. So I mean, but I'm just wondering, like, it would have to be Will if we have 7 years. That would, because otherwise Alicia would have been pregnant for like 4 years when the entirety of seasons 4, 5, and 6, right?
Oh
Because
well,
she
no,
wasn't.
she could have met up with Troy, but I think okay. So hold on, we have to we have to get a little bit more specific with this episode because Troy happens to mention to Madison that the woman that she must have killed or taken away. She uses the specific words "taken away from me," was his daughter's mother, and it was the same person that helped him after the dam. Could still be Alicia, but then they would have had to have a child in that gap between the dam falling and the stadium.
And then where would
So she
Alicia
must have had a
kid
child
with-
before the stadium.
She had a child with Troy and then left it with Troy, and then the dam happened. I don't understand how that.
No.
No, the dam.
I don't. It
Troy
would have to be Will.
Stadium.
It would have to be Will. It would have to be Will.
Or the kid could be like 5 or 6, and it could be after they left Alicia.
Yeah, that's also true. Could be very young, that kid.
In my head, that's what it was. when I
Then
heard that
who
theory.
would the dad be?
Troy.
Well, no, so that's actually very interesting. If it was Will, it's like that Rick Shane thing where Shane is actually Judith's biological daughter, and it's the found family concept where, okay, well, but it's really Rick's daughter.
This is like the
No, I'm
mirror-
saying like if they.
No, I'm
if
saying to
Alicia
Sharondy.
was left.
Right, right.
If Alicia was left, right? Everybody left her because they assumed that she was gonna go die, and so she walked off into
Ether.
the ether of nuclear fallout. I'm saying, what if she met up with Troy then, and they ended up having a child together?
Right, right. That's what I was thinking as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Unfortunately,
So,
I feel like I have to
that-
reiterate this is that
I mean, that
I
would
know a
have
little
to,
too much, so I can't really say too much at all.
Don't say anything.
I don't.
that little-
I don't
that
really
means
know. I don't know if I really
the
know.
kid would have to be like 5 or 5.5, and that's if
That's
they,
what I'm saying. Like,
That's
we
if
don't know
she
how
got
old the kid
pregnant
is.
right after,
Mm-hmm.
Or 6,
got-
whatever.
which is why I would. And how I don't remember how long it was after the bomb went off, after they all found each other, right? Because she met Will after
Oh.
the bomb went off when she was stuck
Oh yeah, it was pretty
Mhm.
much right after that.
in the basement.
Yeah.
So if she hooked up with Will and then lost her arm and whatnot,
But we followed her from the
So-
time of the nuclear fallout.
how
and then 3
long
months
was
later?
it after? So 3 months later, it was 3 months later,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't too much longer after that that everybody got separated. What, 6 months maybe? So she
Mhm.
could have been pregnant and not showing. And
True.
think that the radiation sickness was radiation sickness when
That's
she
what I
was
was
really
just
pregnant.
laughing about.
Right, right. So this
Wouldn't
is
that
like
be
the
something?
this is like the mirror to Grace and Athena.
Yeah, I don't seem to be getting better. That's okay. I can dig that. That has some legs. She would have been only 3 months in when she left the compound because when you count the days, I think it was 3 months when Will was counting the days on the side of the inside of the truck, right? You remember that? Will at the first episode of season 7.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was like 3 months where she was out on the road and stuff like that. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
give her a couple, maybe another month. She should have been showing, but obviously if she's emaciated,
mean,
can't keep anything down.
Well, she was also wearing that big cloak half the time when you couldn't
She
see her
was.
body
The
most
garbage
of the
bag
time
cloak.
either.
Yeah. I do have to say though that like I just when Troy, because that theory I've heard that theory as soon as like the first episode aired. Someone posted it somewhere and I accidentally read it and I was like, well, now this is gonna ruin my opinion on everything. But once I read it, I was like, that made it seem like when Troy said the thing about how he was saved by this woman after the dam, that it was actually somebody else, like somebody completely.
That's what I was
different.
trying to
Or-
say in the
It's gonna be like-
beginning.
Or
It's gonna
Are
be
you
like
femsplaining me?
Odessa's mom or whatever.
he was
That's
so
what I
hot to
immediately
get
went to.
revenge that the idea of revenge against Alicia and Madison saved him.
Like you said in the last
It
episode
doesn't
with the
have to
Revenant.
be. It doesn't have to be someone who nursed him back to health or whatever. He could be
Okay.
so powered by revenge that made him, that saved him after the dam. Like
Sure.
exactly, just like I talked about the guy whose name I can't remember last week. Which let me go look that up because that's gonna bug the crap out of me.
Okay, well, in the meantime, sorry, Bridget. We need to take a few moments to read the comments because it's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. So, okay, we're gonna start with David Carranza. Madison, this episode's hard to root for her. It's like self-sabotage. I'm glad Daniel said it finally. Aiden says, "Don't talk trash about Charlie, or I'll do to you what she did to Nick." Lois says, "Don't say our name too much. It makes me want to puke." Blah, emojis. And Walking to the Journalist says, "Like the boogeyman." Yeah. Emily says, "I love this app. Reminds me of the good old days with the good OG ensemble." Listen, I felt sort of that way too, and I like how even that was twisted. I like that there's the possibility that nobody could be satisfied, and then other people might be really satisfied, just because they love story, like me. Lois says, "Yes, yes." Dave Carranza says, "I'm shocked by Sharon D. I liked it at LMO. I love you. I am too." Emily says, "I feel like Kim's been kind of directed wrong, though I fear," which we've talked about. David Carranza, absolutely no diss for Kim. I'm actually a fan, but Madison is divisive and complex. That's why I like her, actually. Why I like her a lot. Emily, I think she's continuing her comment, though I fear her emotional scenes feels hollow to me, and which is kind of what we've been trying to tackle with. Walking to Charles says, "I feel like this isn't Kim's last episode." I would wholeheartedly agree with you. Lois Martin says, "I don't want her to be part of it anymore." Well, you're with some of us. Like one and a half of us. Lois says, "Then don't do it." She's messing up the whole show up. Don't protect her. I'm going to protect her because I happen to... listen, you can get into the particulars about the dialogue and all that stuff, but I think what they're doing with her character, I think is very cool.
I mean,
I really do like it.
so it could also, because remember we were talking about back in season 7, why would Alicia care so much if Will was thrown off the roof of the tower? Like, you knew him, 2 weeks? Why do you care? Maybe that's why she cares so much.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of
Remember-
why I'm on board with you about her sickness and it not being radiation as much as it is baby. Maybe baby. David Carranza says, "I agree with the Omega Queen level queen, obviously." Yeah. And then you'll comment on my shirt and then we'll be on the same footing again. Emily says, "Even when she's crying over her kids, I don't believe her," like with Travis, commenting on her hollow performance. Yikes. Dave Carranza says, "Okay, that's interesting, David. Elaborate, por favor." I think I did. Walking Dead Journalist says, "I feel like the actors' strike is going to end after the holidays. It's going that way." Well, that we actually were talking about that on the show, or before we got on, because we want to do some cool things. And in order to do those cool things with cool people, we can't really talk about the shows. We have to talk about generic things, which I think you would want anyway. So we'll get into it when it has legs. We don't really like to talk about things unless they're in motion. And so far, no motion. David Carranza says, "Troy's motives were a lot clearer for me this episode. I appreciated that." Yes. Thank God. If we had to bury the lead for one more episode, I would have killed somebody. Emily says, "So sad when you possibly excuse a whole ass child's age because everything else in the show is so inconsistent." Yikes. The ones who talk to Kira. "Oh my God, we got done trick or treating. I'm frozen because it's cold in Minnesota."
I want some candy, Takira. Send me some candy.
Yeah, give the Jew his candy, please. Reese's
I
Pieces.
have candy because I turned on the
that
porch
makes-
light, but my husband turned it off behind me.
That makes me curious, Dave. Is there, because traditionally, Halloween is a Christian holiday, right? All Hallows Eve, a pagan holiday that was taken over by Christians.
I
etc.
just read about this. Would you
Does-
like more information on this?
does-
I just read about this. the
No.
other day.
Well, I just want to
Not
ask
now.
Dave if in the Jewish faith is there a corroborative holiday?
Not a
Is
corroborative,
there a
but
similar holiday?
we do have Purim, which we do get up in costumes in modern times. It used to be that you dressed up as the characters from Esther, the Megillat Esther, the scroll of Esther, which so would be Esther, Haman, I can't say his name, Achashverosh. I don't know how to say it in English. So, and this is during the time of Persia, when Persia was covering the earth, basically Babylon, and in whatever. Anyway, so yes, we do dress up in modern times. It's around February, basically. That's when it happens. But yeah, we don't we don't celebrate Halloween.
That would be crazy if you're just like walking around a Gentile neighborhood, like trick or treat. It's in February. I'm probably like, what is going on?
Completely normal in Brooklyn, if you know where to go. Let me continue with the comments though. But Walking Digital says, I don't think Alicia would sleep with Troy because of the history that they have, not to mention the fact that Alicia hates Troy. Mm-hmm. In my opinion. I don't, it's not even,
Hey,
it's in
things
fact.
unless
It's
unless
based
she
in fact.
didn't
Things
have a
change.
choice.
People change.
Unless she didn't have a choice.
Oof.
Oh,
Yikes. But she did mention that his, okay, we can get into the technicals about, well, he saved him. She gave him a second chance. He used those words. Anyway, let's keep that in the back burner for now because we're gonna get into the episode meat and get Bridget's impressions. Aiden says,
Wait. We know what? It's gonna turn out to be nobody.
yep.
Because if it was anybody special, AMC would have spoiled it already.
It's nobody.
well, they didn't
It's not.
they
It's
didn't
gonna be
spoil
nobody
Tracy,
we
but you know
know.
who did? You know who did spoil Tracy? Entertainment journalism, for sure. And I won't get into specifics on that, but it's just rotten. It's just shitty. It's shitty. It's really, really shitty.
Oh, I haven't been spoiled on it, so I don't want to know.
That's fine. It's fine. Aiden says Dakota saved him. Dakota saved him, then saved Morgan. So Dakota saved Troy. Ooh, god damn. Okay. Because when you really think about it, that's just sick, Aiden.
She is the worst.
Fucking
so-
pervert. Anyway. Okay, so Aiden also says,
Oh,
then she introduced
Aiden.
Then she introduced them to Virginia, and the baby is Troy's and Virginia's. I'm for that. I'm for that. G. Wilson's. Hey, how are you again? I don't know how to talk anymore. Happy Halloween, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Hi.
That would be like the most evil baby ever.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
I don't know, Troy. Troy, maybe he does have a thing for one-armed girls.
I don't believe
know.
people are born bad, though. So it's like, I know some people do, but yeah. Anyway, you have to read them both. Yeah, Aiden, yes. No, I'm not even reading that. Anyway, okay,
Twice fajitas.
Bridget, overall, I know we cut your first impressions off, but overall, what do you got?
Yeah, it was good.
No. No.
No, I don't even remember where I was. Let's just move on.
No. Okay.
We'll just get into the episode. It's okay.
Okay. Well, this is going to hopefully kick this off a little bit because I do think the story, at least in this episode, and I feel like again they're going with the checkerboard. Like either the episode is really constructed poorly and the story is not so great, and then the next episode for some reason. Am I even here?
I'm sorry.
Aiden said I was buffering.
No, look at me.
It's like the most accurate.
Look at me. Look at me. Okay, I'm right here. My eyes are right here. Okay, not Aiden's tits. Anyway, so did it get your attention though? No, I actually really, really enjoyed the story in this episode, and it is sort of repeating the checkerboard formation of that we were seeing in the first half of the season, where you'd get a episode, and the next episode was actually kind of great, and the next episode after that was like, but the one after that was pretty great.
It's such a strong strategy for last season.
But I'll take it at least with this episode, and then next week hopefully will not disappoint. And it does seem like the next episode is pretty.
Let's follow that trend. So, this episode was good, and the next one's gonna be
So that's
not
9.
so good.
Okay.
So, and then the next one will be good.
10.
It's 10, and then 11 will be not so good.
Okay.
So
And
12 is
12
gonna
will
be
be
good.
good.
All right, I'll deal. I
Oh,
can
yeah,
deal
yeah.
with that.
Off of the
I can
bank.
deal with that.
Well, and then I remember while I was watching this episode, I was like, yes, bang. No, did not like that bang. But in another sense, though, I did like that bang. I did like that bang because I said this in the first half. I said, you've got to start taking chances. And even though it wasn't the thing that I would have wanted, I liked it. I liked what we got. I did. I like that they're taking chances. I like that they're in this weird way embracing the universe, because the universe is pretty harsh. And this show has taken chances, some of which are a little ridiculous, but some of which were actually really good. They take chances because they don't have source material to pull from, so they can do things that the main show can't do or feel like they can't do. So at least with this episode, they seem to be pulling in all the things that have occurred in at least this season, and then also start to kind of coalesce on all some of the loose threads from prior seasons as well. You know, especially if you're introducing a long dead character. But I did enjoy this episode a lot, a lot.
I did too. At least this time they didn't introduce a new character and kill him off in the same episode.
Again, 2 for
Thank
2.
you.
They just brought on a long thought dead character and
Another
made him
one.
alive and then killed him off.
Which that was
Killed
What?
that was another thing. Like, I did not see Charlie coming, and that was great. We all assumed that she's definitely dead. She's definitely dead, and that we would see her in a flashback.
That reminds me what my second half was about my opinion.
Good. I'm glad we.
Look here, everyone. This is you right now watching, you at the keyboard or on your phone. Look here. Not everyone is available to watch the episode immediately, okay? And sometimes they just like to vacantly scroll social media before they go to bed. It's called doom scrolling, and I do it a lot. And guess what? You wrecked Charlie coming back for me. Just so you know, I want you all to know that. You with your immediate posts for your self-gratification, so that maybe Alexa would like your post and you could feel good about yourself for a second. Yeah, you. F you.
Right. For once, AMC didn't spoil it, and then you people went ahead and spoiled it.
You spoiled it for me. Thank you so much. I was really busy this weekend and I wasn't able to watch it until Monday, and you guys wrecked it.
Yeah, I thought I watched it late. I started watching it
Thomas.
right when it started airing. So like 15 minutes after it started, I'm like, well, I guess I'll watch this. I'm tired from the charity auction.
It would have been really cool. It would have been really cool to be surprised by that. So I was really disappointed that I was spoiled for it.
Before you say hi to
Thomas.
Thomas, we have to say goodbye to Aiden. Aiden.
Bye,
Aiden.
All right, I got to go to
Love you.
Love's. I do want to say Alexa deserves an award. I agree. So happy Charlie got a conclusion. One of my favorites in the episode in a while, favorite episodes in a while. It stuck with me all week. 2 days. Glad to see most of them together. We love you, Aiden. We'll see you soon.
Love you.
All right,
yeah.
Thomas?
And I am mad, but it's okay. I still love you guys. I'm just
Well, I mean, Charlie got to go out. Okay. Charlie got to go out making up for something she felt like she needed to make up for. Right? But
Sort of.
Charlie, you didn't know Madison a damn thing. You were 11 years
Okay.
old. That was a long time ago. And if Madison was that worried about her kids, instead of sitting there stealing other people's babies, she should have been out looking for her own kids instead of out there stealing other people's babies. She had no right to blame that on Charlie and make Charlie feel guilty enough that she had to go and do that. So
okay.
I'm very mad about that.
Let's go
I have
here.
something to say about that.
Let's
I
go
have
here.
something to say
No,
about
let's
this.
stay here.
Because this
It's
this
fine.
part made me pretty heated. Not for the reason that you think.
Hmm.
Okay? Not for the reason that you think. So here's the thing.
Did you lose it?
That one, no.
It was a very
For a minute.
pregnant pause.
For a minute. Okay, so
Is something
so
snapped?
one,
She was buffering again.
She was buffering, yeah.
it's like just picture like a little so one, you're right, she didn't need to do that, and Madison shouldn't have put that on her. But Madison, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Madison was 100% right when she called BS on what Charlie said. Charlie wasn't apologizing for Madison. She was apologizing for herself, because that's what people do when they do something wrong and they feel bad about it. Just let it lie, dude. You don't have to pick. She literally just found out that you killed her son, and you're like out there like, Madison, I want to talk to you. And Strand's like, not right now. And she's like, come on,
Wow,
let me
Bridget.
just talk.
I wasn't
It's
going to
not
take that
appropriate.
attack vector. I really was
I'm
not.
sorry. It made me so angry, because I was just like, all I could picture is like, one, you're still like a young buck, right, Charlie? Like, you're still a young buck, so you just don't know.
So that's
But
actually pretty
two,
good
I
acting
mean, not only
or writing
not only
choice.
is she only 20, she's like 20 years old.
She's
now,
20,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not only is
So
she only
you're
20 years old, what kind of life experience does she have other than working in a flippin' oil field?
Beautiful.
yeah.
Which is
Nothing.
great writing.
So like,
You're writing for
yeah,
that
no,
age.
this was great.
Yeah.
This was great. But I was so aggravated by this, like, this need to like fulfill whatever this desire is, and then Madison calls you out on it, and she is she was right, and it bothered me on
Are
a
you
different
okay?
level. And
Do you need like a cold compress or something?
she was right, because it was just like, dude, you don't need to do this right now. Like, one, she literally just she's out here killing walkers because she's so mad right now. Like, just
Maybe
let it
Victor's right.
lie.
It's not the time.
Let it lie. But also, like, just drive away in your rig and like go do something. Like, maybe you guys can come back to this later. Like, this doesn't have to happen right now. But that's like I'm gonna shake my fist at my lawn right now. That's youth for you. You know what I mean?
But you know what? What I like about your
I gotta
comment.
have it
Well,
now.
See, I
also,
wasn't going
I'm
to take the
sure.
attack vector you were going to take because I was going to go just more on the lines of it's interesting that she said that Madison said that because it really pulls her original pre-apocalypse role of being a guidance counselor. And so I really liked that she picked up on that and then weaponized it against Charlie. That's
I'm
I
also
wasn't going to
sure
go with
that
the whole Charlie pisses me off. Like, I wasn't going to go that
You
way.
did. It upset me.
I
That
didn't.
upset me.
I didn't have that. I didn't have an issue with Madison getting mad about that. What I had was an issue with Madison saying, "Well, I want you to go be a murderer and
Well,
kill somebody."
that was stupid. But here's why this is
I didn't think
even
it was
more
stupid.
dumb.
I think it was
Here's
smart
why this is even more dumb.
writing.
Charlie
Sorry.
goes, "Yes, I will do that." You could just be you. You know what you could do? You know what you could do? Instead, is someone tells you something absolutely insane, and you could be like, "No, I'm not going to do that.
Well, here's
I'm not going to do that because
and it-
that's crazy.
But
You're crazy
again,
right now."
But that's you, Bridget. That's
right.
not
You're
Charlie.
you're not emotionally 13 years old.
Well, hold
I
on.
mean,
But listen,
Here's the other thing. Here's
but
the other
then
thing.
not all
Tell that to my
13-year-olds
parents,
are the
but
same.
thanks.
So
I'm sure this was a terrible, terrible shock to Charlie too.
yeah.
She didn't know Madison was alive, as far as we know.
Well, we
No.
And
do.
to get out,
We
Well,
do. We actually do. She's probably been sitting on this for a while because she mentions that they went out of their way. She said that maybe okay. See, we should attack this one piece about Nick's burial. Because did she go out there not specifically to find Nick because she knew Madison was alive? Like she found out Madison was alive, or did she go out there just for herself and then left the note with the coffee can with Nick's remains right
Okay,
after her
so
conversation with Madison?
what I got was that they were out on a run because they've been clearing the roads all the way to Arizona. So they were out on a run, and she asked Lucy to show her where Nick was because they were already in that area, and she said, "Show me where Nick is buried." So they dug Nick up and they cremated him and brought him back because Charlie didn't want to leave him there where he was just thrown into a hole and covered up because they were so hot for revenge that they couldn't stop and take care of him properly.
Which, by the way,
Even though it was a beautiful place and everything, that
it
wasn't
really wasn't. And I'll tell you why. Because
right. But it wasn't. She wanted him to be where people who loved him were, which
Right.
was her and Lucy. And so she brought, and then when Madison showed up, she wrote the letter and gave her the letter. And when she left her the letter with the can.
like
I
right
don't
then,
think
right?
she knew. Right. I don't think she knew Madison was coming back at any stretch of time. I think
Okay.
when she pulled up, since she saw Madison standing in the yard, was when she knew that Madison was there.
Right, right. And so with the remains and not knowing what to do with them. See, that's the only thing that kind of tripped me up is that she still had them in the coffee can. And it's the way that Luciana, I think it was Luciana who framed it. It's as though she kept it around waiting for Madison to come back. So that to figure out what to do with them.
It was like, okay, one, you can't find like a high quality urn in the apocalypse.
It's
So,
not the
I
coffee
mean,
can itself that I have a
maybe you
problem with.
could,
But it was
maybe you
more
could, but
it's more like
also,
what
how
to
did
do
you
with them.
cremate that body?
Well, with a little help. Okay. So let's do that.
They
But
have
how?
they have a lot
How?
of gasoline.
Yeah.
But still, Dave, have you watched any true crime?
No.
Do you know how hard it is to burn a body
Well,
to
Because of
to get
temperatures?
to cremation status?
They sifted out the big chunks and
I'm
put the
gonna-
ashes in the coffee can.
I'm just saying.
Right. I'm sure they buried most of the body wherever, but then whatever ash that could come off the body, probably stuffed in the can, I guess. Well, at the bottom, there's a little coffee
But I-
grounds at the bottom.
I think because Charlie said Lucy said they just hadn't found the right place yet.
Right.
And so then
okay.
she's like, maybe it's because maybe we were waiting until you got here. Like,
Mhm.
I think
Okay,
it
so
wasn't,
that's
she
what you mean
wasn't
by-
saying we were waiting for you to be here. Maybe
like, it's
we couldn't
kismet.
find the right
Lauren
place
tipped
because you were supposed
$50.
to be here.
Lauren just tipped us $50. Lauren Where
Oh,
is Lauren?
thank you,
Is that G
Lauren.
Wilson's? I don't know, but thank you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
$50. That's too much, but we're
Thank you.
not
That was
worthy.
very nice.
I'll accept it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thomas's comment just cracked me up.
But I don't want. I feel like
Talking.
I do want to dwell on the $50, but I also don't want to dwell on the $50. But
No,
because
thank you.
it
That's
was a
super
lot,
kind.
so you deserve at least 50 seconds of me thanking you for anyway. But I do want to go back to his first burial site.
If we're talking about,
The burial site
if we're
that he was.
talking about,
Well,
sorry.
wait, let me just say this part because I don't want to dwell on it. But if you remember that
Right.
where he was originally buried was a season 4 reference. They were out in the road. He had just been shot. It was like the deep of night. John Dory, Morgan. They decided to bury him where the weapons cache was so they can go back to it, and they left him there. And I just remembered that, and I'm like, I remember at the
No, they
time
moved
watching
him.
it
They moved him. They moved him
to the
because
blue
they came back
bonnets.
with. They came no over under the tree because they came back
Oh
with
yeah.
Morgan, and Morgan was like he liked growing things, right? And they're like, yeah. He's like, well, how about we take him here? And they took him and buried him under that big oak tree
Ah, I see.
or
I
that
see.
big spreading oak tree.
Look at this
So
library of
he
knowledge
wasn't he wasn't
on
still
tap.
where they got the weapons from, but
Right.
they still wasn't. It was just because they would have left him there except Morgan.
Man, that
Morgan was like, you
corpse
gotta
have
bury him
been
somewhere.
mileage though. Right? Corpse has had some mileage. That's crazy. Poor guy.
Like Lincoln, because they dragged President Lincoln all over the country after he was
And,
embalmed.
and Reagan
He went,
too.
I
Holy
know,
crap.
like like a year after he was embalmed, they finally buried him. He went all over the country on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Hey,
know
man.
that? Do you know that the body of Evita Peron is still in state and in Argentina?
That
They
still
embalmed
checks out.
her. They embalmed her, and she is. You can still go see her perfectly embalmed body in Argentina.
Same.
Yeah,
Don't
go
cry
look it
for
up.
me,
It's crazy.
Argentina.
It's crazy.
Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so let's take a
It's a little
pause.
spooky for your Halloween.
Gather your.
Mhm.
Before you pause,
Okay.
I just want to say it was really awesome to see Lucy finally get her own title card.
Yes.
Mm.
And a suitable episode. I mean, listen, it's not the Lucy we wanted, but it's the Lucy we got, and I'm not mad
Oh
at
my
it.
God, they finally made her useful.
Yeah.
She's making
Well, I have
gas.
a lot to say about this, but let's do comments.
Yes,
and,
let's
and
do
then we'll
comments
get into
first.
it.
Okay. And I'm going to start with this because Walking Dead Eternal says Dwight and Sherry are going to be in the next episode. I know. And I'm not going to say anything more about that. It looks spooky and it kind of reminds me of Fear the Walking Dead season 6 when we saw the masks teaser into the season 6 teaser. It was like April, like right at the pandemic when season 6 didn't air right away. And then we had to wait all the way until fall for that. But we're like, oh, what masks? Anyway, David Carranza says, I kind of wish Rachel was here. Her playful subtlety would cut right through the. Yes, it would have. And the show would have been 3 hours long. Because of me, but also because of her. But Rachel's on a film set right now on the last night of filming. So everybody send her very nice messages to her pictures and stuff. I think you should do that. And Thomas says, wait till they bring it back Dakota. Laugh, laugh, laugh from David Carranza. Jason Cohen says, I didn't post about her even after 11 months. Jason Cohen, to your credit. Yes.
Thank you, Jason.
Dude, you're a prince.
You're my hero.
But I should out Jason. Jason's the one who spoiled me about this season. Jason. I could finally talk about it, Jason. It's like, didn't you know Troy's Army? I'm like, what? Jason, come on, don't tell me the stuff. It messes with my head. But I love you, Jason. You're a really great guy. By the way, Jason's been very supportive of the show. Just with comments and just he's really big. He loves his work, and we love him back for loving his work. I love enthusiasm, Jason. So, cheers, Jason. Walking to Eternal says, "Poor Charlie. I was mad when Charlie was killed off." Let's circle back to that moment because we were talking about that. We jumped to the ashes and then because we wanted to talk about intentions. Anyway, G. Wilson says, always the quote unquote, you should have stayed off Twitter portion of Twitter that ruins it for everybody. You should have stayed off Twitter. Like, no, you should just DM the people who you want to spoil.
Have some consideration. for
Or
other
like,
people,
you know,
whatever.
use like Bridget said in a previous episode. I don't know when, but it was a previous episode. When you post pictures, you have the option in the picture settings to check the box for NSFW or not safe for work, which will put a blur on
Cover
it so you don't actually see the photo and people can whiz by the words. Thomas says Team Madison is greater than Team June. I wonder if he actually means that, though, because I know during season 5, I think it was, he actually went out of his way to bring a... No, it was to make fun of Meg because... Anyway, it was a whole thing. He snapped off a figurine of Madison's head in front of Meg in a video like years ago, and it triggered Meg, the geek. It was not Meg the geek.
I knew there was a reason I loved you, Tom.
There you go. Dave Cronsis says also Alexa's great. I'm so impressed. Tom says, wow, that I'm going to call Bridget Butter from now on because she's on a roll. G. Wilson says Strand this whole episode was just holding Madison and others back before Madison loses her shit, and I love it. Yes, I liked the line the edge that he was on in this episode too. Because you got all these different dimensions in this episode, Daniel, Lucy, Madison, Victor, and everybody had their point of view. And then until a certain point near the end where everybody was kind of against Madison, except for Victor, obviously. Thomas is correcting himself. Dave Crown says, Bridget losing her shit is everything. I also agree. Ooh. Thomas says, how the F did Madison did not know? People tell her that kids are dead and for 6 years never asked how her kids died. And well, I'm not the one who's going to question how people process grief or, sometimes it's just good enough to know that they had passed and you want to move on. She has a mission, etc. I don't want to dwell on that too much. But G. Wilson says, I honestly don't expect Luciana Charlie to go all the way back to Texas. But then again, it has been 7 years. Yeah, and at some point when you feel settled and you have a purpose and something to do, you kind of want to finally put some things to rest. You know what I mean? G. Wilson says, Thomas, I'm surprised Morgan didn't tell her first, considering the season 7 finale. But we talked about that in the last episode, actually, G. Wilson. We said sometimes, this is with respect to specifically Victor and his tower, Morgan has and this could be seen as a bad or good quality. Morgan does have this tendency to kind of try to paint people in a certain light. And usually it's not a bad light. And sometimes
it's usually red.
Yeah, it's usually red. Well, that's usually for him. He saves the red for him and stockpiles it so that when all he sees it lasts for kind of while. And thank you again, Lauren, for tipping us $50. And by the way, which kicked off our goal, which we just reset. That was the other thing I was supposed to bring up in housekeeping.
Oh, Lauren was watching us on Twitch?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Lauren. And I think that's Lauren. Okay, Lauren, when you get a chance, say hi. And then I think I know who this is, but I just have to. And I'll see it on Ko-fi anyway. Thomas says, okay, Bridget's reaction and her love of true crime has me frightened. Yeah, me too. But,
he also
she's on my side, so I'm
might
not
have
as
some
frightened.
bodies in her refrigerator.
I don't.
But they're animal bodies, so it's okay.
She can't have bodies in her refrigerator. She's got too much couponing stuff in there.
Yeah,
It's
full
true.
of
It's true.
couponing things.
Right, she's waiting to sell them off. No, she has she
Actually,
has a
the
separate fridge
is
for
pretty
that.
empty. The freezer is what's full of
Yeah,
the couponings.
Exactly. G. Wilson says, if I had money to give, I would do it, but it's not. Listen, all we ask people to do, have ever asked people to do, is just follow us on Ko-fi or Patreon. If you feel that's when you give, you're giving from your heart. That's what I care about. That's all I care about. But when you do follow us on Ko-fi or Patreon, it means that much more because we know that you're interested in even more us. And that means the world to us. So consider it. No, just do it. I prefer Ko-fi because it's just a great place. Anyway, Thomas says, Lauren, are you crazy?
Thomas is trying to pick.
Yeah, I know. Lauren, are you crazy? Send future donations directly to me. I'm for it. That's fine if you want to be that dumb. I am TWD. Hi, family. Hi, I am TWD.
Hey.
I think
Hi,
from
I am TWD.
Instagram, right? And, oh, look at that. Marcus Carrillo. Or Carrillo. I don't know. I'll just say Carrillo because it sounds fun. What if
Carrillo, I believe.
What if you fear The Walking Dead ends with Padre getting taken over by the CRM? Hear me out. And Silas is there and so probably continued. It's not continued. But you know what? I feel like, and correct me if you guys think the same, but do you feel like it's kind of like the Connie and Daryl thing, which I was a big fan of, but time sort of passed and it never sort of happened. I feel like they kind of est the bed on the CRM plot.
Except when Lucy says we have to keep this place going, or we have to do this for the people who keep this place going. Padre has fallen, so why would they still be? Or if they're still making gas for Padre, why wouldn't everybody at Padre know about it, right? I feel like this
Mm.
was like a weird secret for them to have. So maybe it's not Padre that she's keeping making the gas for. Maybe
Could be.
it's the CRM because the CRM obviously has fuel and we've talked about it before. So maybe the CRM is who is supplying the gas.
So
Kind of
basically,
feel like
what
that
we
was
said
like a
in
little
season
one of
6
those
or
little
5.
slide in things.
Well, this is
Yeah,
what we said about Ginny in season 5. Like, okay, who's all this gas for? Is she like a broker for the CRM and stuff like that? But I don't know. Maybe they're bringing it back. But I was more attributed. I think a lot of the gas, since she has 23 separate way stations, I just think that a lot of the gas is about restocking all those way stations, and you need fuel to get there and back, and it, over long distances and different locations
but
in the
who
network.
is she doing the way stations for? When
Anybody.
did they all of a sudden? She says they have 23 outposts. Th- I thought Padre hadn't even started doing outposts yet at the end of because they were still looking at all the containers. So
This
they've
wasn't for
spread out.
Padre. This was for her own project. It was never a part of Padre. She just said, this is my new thing,
So
and
then how did they go in there and get all the supplies out of the where all because all the supplies were guarded by all the walkers. So how did they go in there and get the supplies out?
that's a great question actually, because when Madison asked about the supplies, she was asking within the context of while she was working with them. So, well, maybe they were already trying to set up some sort of network. Padre
But
themselves.
that's what I'm saying. They weren't because they couldn't kill the walkers to get the stuff out. That was the whole problem, right? They couldn't kill all the
Well,
walkers
the,
to
the
get all the
containers, but
containers.
maybe they're referring to something else, like other supplies.
I don't
The
know. I
containers I know
just
that were specifically for like arid. Remember we talked about arid locations, and there's I don't know if there were homes in a box,
I'm just
but
I'm just saying if Padre has not been fallen for very long, right? I'm
right,
guessing.
right.
And Padre had not yet started setting things up
No,
and
I'm on board.
nobody could get in to get stuff out of the containers, then who are they still doing this for?
Well, see, that's the thing. Well, so what they're who they're doing this for is just regular people. That she's trying to revive the take what you need, leave what you don't thing for just people who are around still. It is kind of an interesting callback to season 4 where there was nothing everywhere
No,
because of the vultures.
I mean I do like that. I like the idea of that, but I just feel like
You feel like there's
she's
something
making
more to
there's
it.
got to be something more to it. It's
So
why
you're
else
you're
would she be
basically
doing that?
Victor and Daniel when they pop in the shop. Like this whole thing, why? Who cares? We're 7, 9 years, 10 years into the apocalypse. Why would anybody keep doing
No,
this?
I'm because if Padre has fallen and you've just it just doesn't make sense. Who's setting up all these things? Why have they been doing it? Something is out there. They've got something else going on.
Aliens.
We already talked about that, Thomas.
So wait, Thomas says you can probably find a bald body in Bridget's kitchen. Yep. G. Wilson says it's odd because I'm glad Lucy got the title card, but I feel more like Charlie Daniel episode. It's not unusual, but I think they kind of want to shift the focus to Lucy because she hadn't had
And
the focus.
it would have spoiled Charlie coming back too if they had Charlie on the title card.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you argue that Lucy connects them both. Yeah, Charlie would have spoiled it. And yeah, exactly. And you're welcome, Jason Cohn. Thomas says, screw Jason. Let's talk about Tom. No. We will anyway. Don't worry about it. And Sharon D says, I agree. G. Wilson's better to spoil Charlie. Yep. I am TWA. I thought it was already dead, so no loss. Thought she was already dead. Yeah, and that's kind of my point is that we'd written her off in our minds. And we thought when Charlie came back that she would be, oh, this is a flashback. It's going to be filmed in studio. We'd said this. We didn't know for sure. And even, see, it's like the one time, maybe, the one time that I didn't see it coming. Like, we didn't know if she was filming anything for season 8. We didn't know anything. And Alexa was really tight-lipped about it. She was posting her fashion stuff. And we're like, okay, well, I guess she's moved on, right? We're like, okay. I guess she's not coming back-ish, and she already filmed stuff way in advance. And Thomas says Morgan is greater than June. And G. Wilson says Blazy Guard. That is true. Thomas says, who is Troy's baby mama? Sharon D needs to find a box with a good internet to take. Yeah. Give Sharon D
My
and
internet's
leave what
not
you
been
don't.
the problem lately.
Yeah. It's mostly Thomas is the problem lately.
Um,
Or maybe it's Taylor Swift and the problem is her. By the way, I just want to say this out loud because hopefully you'll laugh. When Madison walks off at the end, that's what I was thinking of. Maybe the problem's me.
It's me.
She's Taylor
Hi.
Swift.
I'm the problem.
Daniel
It's me.
said there's something fundamentally wrong with you. I was like, yeah, tell
By
her,
the way,
Daniel.
the way
Tell
that,
her how wrong she is. Yeah.
the way that he said that, the kind of like pause on the F made me think he was about to say there is something fundamentally wrong. I was like, oh, he didn't F bomb in the end. I thought it was clever. It was like, wow, the lines he had this episode was so much more Daniel. I love
I
it.
really appreciate the mirroring. Like they've always been really, really good at that, at mirroring and callbacks and stuff like that. And I do love the mirroring to Nick's death and the stadium and all that. I really do. I really thought this episode was good, other than Madison, and it's like I just can't stand her.
Right.
Like she goes, I'm not gonna. Don't worry, Charlie. We won't blow your cover, and it's like she's already blown Victor's cover, and
that's
And
a
she's
really
not
good.
really-
really loudly on the radio.
and,
That's a
Charlie,
good
where
spot.
are you? What
I know.
happened?
and then she
Like a
immediately,
mom.
and then no, no, she
Come
tells
home,
it's
honey.
Lucy. She tells Lucy, "We won't blow your cover," and then she immediately goes outside, and it's like just Madison.
You know what? So let's go back to, okay. I like that. I'm gonna go back to that. Let's go back to Charlie because you had said that she had done this for Madison, and I'm going to contend that there are two specific lines in this episode that indicate that she's not doing this for Madison at all. It's not even for Nick. It's not even for Alicia. It's for what Alicia wanted, and it was, I have to find it, but it was Daniel says this specific thing, and he says.
No, Dave's buffering.
Dave is buffering right now. Anyway, whatever. Daniel says somewhere in the episode that she knew she was going to get caught. She purposefully got caught. She knew she was going to get caught to begin with. This was her plan, essentially. So she wasn't going to go in, try to slip behind enemy lines and kill Troy. She was going to do it this way. She wanted to get caught. She wanted to get tied up, and she wanted to be in this position. Essentially, it seems like Charlie wanted to sacrifice herself from the jump. And she committed to this
But
plan.
why go through all the trouble to survive the radiation and all that just to kill yourself for no reason? Because in the end, it was no reason. If she hadn't have
I found it.
gone in there in the first place, if she hadn't have gone in there in the first place, if Madison hadn't guilted her into going in there in the first place, then she wouldn't have had to sacrifice herself to keep them from getting the map.
You know, I don't
'Cause she
disagree with
wouldn't
you.
have been in there.
I don't disagree with you. The show has a habit of, and the characters have a habit of not forgetting or being caught in their loops. You know, to quote you, Sharon D, they get caught in their loops and they can't find their way out. Now, over the years, we've gotten soft, and that the impossible is possible. The airplane, the beer bottle balloon, and all that stuff.
No one's gone till they're gone.
Exactly.
I mean, if
And now we're
she's
going to
talking
hard
about what
truths.
Alicia wanted, I'm pretty sure the last thing Alicia would have wanted was for her to sacrifice herself for no reason when she didn't have to.
Yeah, maybe if you think about it more, but it's the whole make it count.
Well, I mean,
Remembering make it
why
count.
would Alicia? Why would Alicia go through all the trouble to forgive her and help her have a better life just to watch her die because her mom got mad when she found out what happened? Alicia had already forgiven her. Why wasn't that enough?
Right. No, and I don't disagree with that. And I listen, I love the tension and the questions that we can ask out of all this. Because in the end of the day, what happened happened. But
This is okay. I'll give you this, Dave, because you're comparing Madison to the Economy Awards thing to Daryl, and here is a
wow,
comparison. To
got in your
Daryl.
head.
Daryl Dixon he is still paying penance for something that he did
Mm,
how many years ago,
right.
right? Like this whole thought that like maybe he ended up searching out in the US and ended up in Maine because he was doing something for Maggie, because he'll always owe Maggie, because he just feels like he'll always owe her forever and ever,
Even though
right?
he
Like
confronted her again and she forgave
yes,
him.
and like
Yep.
and nothing like we everyone has forgiven him. Everyone has forgiven him. It's not his fault. Like
Right.
he how is he to know that that was what was going to happen?
Right.
But he's still paying penance. So it's kind of like that, right? Charlie is feeling like she has to pay penance for this thing that everyone else has said it's okay, it's over. And the people that were around and who really mattered, and granted, she had connected with Madison first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Madison was her person, like out of all these people. As a kid, Madison was her person. That was the person she connected with.
And Nick. But yeah.
Madison,
But yeah.
you know,
Which is
Madison
telling.
died,
Yeah.
and so granted, yes, as an 11-year-old, she maybe would feel like, okay, this is the person who brought me in. I have to make up for this because she brought me in. She was the one I connected with. She was the one that saved me from living this life that I was gonna live with these. Were they the vultures or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. But and you're right. She was the first mover. Like however it ended up, however it had whatever ended up, but she was the person that started the change. That she didn't have to be with the vultures, etc. Even though it ended up the way
Yeah,
it ended up. No,
yeah.
that's a great point. But to your
So I
point,
think
I
there's
want to
some of
add
that. I think there's some of that still. Like I'm paying penance for what you gave me, but again, from the outside, I think it's easy for us to just say like, get over it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. That's what I mean by stuck
But
in
that's
loops.
from the outside. We all know that's not how it is, right? Like
We're
I'm
all
still replaying scenarios from when I was 13.
traffic
Like
accidents too. A
you know what I
lot.
mean? Like it's like when you're living it, it's different. Because when I saw the warning at the beginning of the episode, Thomas was just mentioning that. And when I saw the warning at the beginning of the episode, I didn't see it the first time. I saw it the second time. And I remembered thinking like, okay, yeah, like she does commit, you know, but it's not like it has to do with mental illness,
Okay,
but
okay.
it does to a degree.
Well, in as much that every one of us is mentally ill in a
Yes,
sense,
Well,
100%.
especially
I'm
everyone
not
in an
saying that, but I'm
apocalypse.
saying you're right.
Yes,
Everybody in
100%.
Yes,
the
100%.
apocalypse is
yes, yes.
damaged.
And I want to
100%.
add
There's
one
so
more
much
thing.
trauma.
I want to add one more thing to what you said is that it's very, very, very easy to see Charlie as a kid. And even though to us, because we're of a certain age, we'll always see her as a kid. One of the things I wrote near the end when she makes that decision is that yes, she's 20 years old. She's a woman. And she made a decision of someone in her age in
But
an accelerated apocalypse. And yes, I know
she's 20 years old, but she's been living
in an accelerated
in
apocalypse.
in an oil field with the same 3 or 4 people for 7 years. She's 20 years old, but she does not have the experience or mental capacity. Not the mental capacity, but the experience, a life experience of a 20-year-old.
So that's interesting that you say that because trauma does stunt your emotional growth. This is like a proven
Mm.
psychological thing. So, for instance, people who end up, the biggest like example of this is alcoholism, right? Like you are mentally stunted to the age that you begin drinking if you are an alcoholic. So let's say you began drinking at age 14 really heavily every day for 20 years. So you're 34, but mentally, you're at the level of a 14-year-old. And trauma has that same kind of effect. Like it can mentally stunt you in ways. So I think there is some of that there, honestly.
Maybe,
I
maybe.
mean, maybe I'm reading into, maybe I'm looking at this through the lens of like, if this were real life, which it's not. This
Not
is a TV show.
true,
But
but I think it's important to reflect on her age currently. And I will say one more thing to the point that we've always made in almost every single episode. For every episode I keep forgetting that it's been 7 years later, except for this one. Except for this one. When I saw Lucy pop on the screen, specifically Lucy, I really felt, because we haven't seen her also, that's the reason. That's it. But I really felt that, yeah, oh my God, it's been 7 years since I've seen Luciana. And so for the first time in this episode, I've really felt that so much time has passed. And so I don't know, maybe they've been holding her back because then we'd finally feel the 7 years that's gone by and we'd actually realize the changes. So when you take that, when you or me, this is the way I felt, but when you take that into account and you actually look at Charlie and look at some of the mature decisions that she made, that were mentioned that she made in this episode, like exhuming Nick's body and cremating it over the years and things like that, mature things like that. Like, you know what? I needed to do that to resolve something inside of me that's been holding me back all these years so that I can continue with this purpose with Lucy, to continue this trucker network. Again, reflecting on season 4, Polar Bear, Luciana is Polar Bear a la Clayton, and Charlie is Iron
I loved
Tiger.
that. Okay, wait a minute.
Logan was Desert Fox.
Iron Tiger. Wouldn't Iron Butterfly have been better for Charlie?
Yeah, you're right. And you know
Yeah,
what?
it would have.
Can we dwell on the
She
name
even
for a minute?
she even had the rocker goth Iron Butterfly in a Gata Davida baby look. She did not. I think Iron Tiger. I think of like some jujitsu kung fu
Chinese, yeah, more.
Chinese stuff.
Yeah.
Not. So I was Iron Tiger made me very angry. Should have been Iron Butterfly.
Well, only because of the
Sorry.
Morning Star. Yeah, I agree. Okay. But and you're right. And I don't know why specifically Iron Tiger because of the references that I pulled
I
up.
could find nothing other than some stuff about some stones.
Is there a tiger in The Little Prince?
Except I just figured it out. It's Skidmark.
Shut up. And maybe
It's
you're right.
Skidmark.
And because the semi is metal, iron, right?
He's a
Sounds
tiger.
cool.
He's a tiger cat.
We need, you know what?
Skidmark.
We need to ask somebody because I need to know where that comes from because it sounds like
Well,
something.
we can ask Phil.
Let's do that. But I want to
Yeah.
ask. So the things that I found for Iron Tiger specifically was it was a code name for an agricultural report from the 10th Dalai Lama. It's a video game studio name. And most notably that I could find was The Iron Tiger was a fictional book by Jack Higgins. 1960s British protagonist plane is grounded in the Himalayas and must escort a Tibetan leader's son to safety over land, escaping Chinese forces. There is some sort of twist that I could not find in time for this
Yeah.
episode.
I looked up Iron Tiger and I kept getting up stuff
Stones,
about
like
iron,
jewelry.
tiger iron crystals.
And
That was not what I'm looking for.
well, there is a vague reference to a suit of armor from a certain period in the Chinese dynasty, and I wanted to look up the significance, but the thing is that it so borders on fiction, like non-existence, that I'm not sure it even has relevance. So anyway, but can we dwell on her look because I felt like they did this weird mash of Sarah and Alicia with Charlie, specifically Sarah with the hanging handkerchiefs.
For a split second when she stepped out, I thought
Pat-
it was gonna be Sarah.
Yeah, right. Because
Yeah.
the boots were
Right.
sort of, the handkerchiefs
And
were
she's
sort of.
stepping down out of the truck, you know.
So there's a little
stepping down out
fu
of the
there,
truck.
by the way, which I didn't like, but also is kind of sweet that she learned from her auntie Sarah.
Never mind. I just forgot what I was gonna say.
Can we also land on the headcanon that possibly Sarah is out there in the network delivering supplies? We can do that, right? We can. Sarah and Wendell are still part of this
That's
network.
what I said.
I'm
my
okay with
headcanon,
that.
They're still alive.
You know, and so, but I also like the Alicia reference. Her jacket in specific made me think of Alicia as well. So it's like that mix of Sarah and guys, screw me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw Sarah's belt or belt buckle. I want to take a closer look at the episode, but I thought I maybe saw her specific belt buckle. I think she had like a Texan belt buckle or something like that. Sarah, we should pay attention to that a little bit more.
So
remember,
I
but
looked
don't
up
think
The
it was
Little
Texas.
Prince and Tiger to see because The Little Prince is the book.
That Lucy
Right.
Lucy gives to
Charlie.
Charlie, and Charlie gives back to Lucy in season
Now
4.
I found an excerpt from something called The Flower's Vanity, but it appears to be the same art as The Little Prince. It's like a little prince on the planet, you know?
Okay.
And it says, "There are no tigers on my planet," the little prince had objected. "And besides, tigers don't eat weeds." "I'm not a weed," the flower sweetly replied. "Forgive me. I am not at all afraid of tigers, but I have a horror of drafts. You wouldn't happen to have a screen a horror of drafts. That's not a good sign for a plant, the little prince had observed. How complicated this flower is. Anyway, so there's like this excerpt from the little prince about the fact that there's no tigers on their planet. I don't know. I was looking for some sort of connection. That's the
Maybe
one
Charlie
thing
was
that I
on
could think
borrowed
of.
Was
time.
it
That maybe there was a piece of media, that she had interacted with.
was it one of the pictures that Silas found that Iris drew a tiger?
That's the Tiger and the Lamb, but from
Mm-hmm.
the poem
Yeah.
Tiger and the Lamb. Tiger isn't it's Tiger Tiger burning bright? No, I'm thinking
Yeah, I
of
think
something else.
so.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Okay.
thought so.
Yes, that's right. That's
But she
right.
says, yeah, yeah.
Anywho,
I
uh,
still think it's skid mark.
but
I like that.
I know I'm actually more comfortable with that than any other reference at this point. It's
I
a
want to say how
semi.
much I love Daniel's face
Wait a
when
minute.
he
Wait a minute.
saw.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. We were
What?
promised skid mark this season. We did not get
Well,
it
that
yet.
we just got him, Iron Tiger.
Ah, damn it.
We were
Very
promised a lot of
metaphorical.
things this season we haven't gotten
Well, specific things, not. Anyway, but yeah, sorry, I cut you off. My bad.
yet. Daniel's face when he first when he saw Lucy, and like I was just like, oh, and then when he saw Charlie, like, can you imagine how happy Daniel was to have both of his girls back on the same
No.
day? Especially one he thought was dead for sure, because everybody thought Charlie was dead.
Yeah, we thought
No.
So
Charlie was dead.
that was super sad. And you know what, Daniel? Props to you for getting the heck away from Madison because she is toxic.
Like Britney Spears.
Toxic.
No, and I was happy with that. I'm as much of a Madison fan as I am. I like Madison because she can be awful. And sorry, I just like that. It's kind of like when people like Shane in a way. Like even though they can say sometimes Shane was right, Shane did nothing wrong. I'm not like that. No, I know that Madison
Well,
does wrong.
he tried to, a woman. But anyway,
What exactly?
force himself upon someone.
But what I mean is,
but you know.
I like her character because, and also the intentions really matter too, and like as opposed to Shane. But even then, okay, whatever. I don't want to get into a thing about Shane because over the years I've actually softened on him, which is really weird. I know we just talked about.
I mean, I love him, but I love to hate him. But anyway,
But anyway, yeah. With regards to that decision that Daniel made at the end, I was all for it, and I love how everybody turned on her. Everybody, and that was the right move. And I like that that's how things ended up because as I said in the last episode, I feel like this is intentional. I feel like they're framing her character in an ugly way to make us not like her, and it was intentional.
It's working.
Yes.
A lot.
No, and I think that's what it is. I really
well,
do.
I think you're finally. Here's the thing: those
The
first
chickens have
4
come home to
seasons-
roost.
those first 4 seasons, everyone was like Madison, Madison, Madison. She didn't make good choices. She never did. She always made horrible choices. They were usually self-sabotaging in some way
Well,
or
not
another.
always, but
She
yeah, they were a little bit
almost
out there.
always.
A lot of
It was
risk
like,
taking.
well, it was big risks for sometimes really little payout, and a lot of the time it hurt the people around her. She refused to make connections outside of her children. There was a lot of codependency that was not healthy. And I think that she was really put on a pedestal despite all of those decisions. So it's kind of nice for this to be more grounded and be like, no, she's still doing what she's done before. It's okay to not like that about somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to be like, oh, she's the worst character ever. I mean, you can feel that way, but
And you can still like the character for what they are.
Yes.
That's my
Yes.
point of view. I
Yes.
love that complexity. I love that which going back to Charlie and that first confrontation, I like that. I really liked that reaction. And mostly actually because I like that in a sense to one of your points, Charity, about fan service, quote unquote. I feel like that moment gave fan service to some of the fans who did not like
I mean,
what Charlie did.
I said, the only thing that I found a positive about Madison coming back was I wanted to see how she interacted with Charlie.
And
So
it
they
wasn't
actually gave us that, and it wasn't what I expected. I mean, I expected Madison's reaction, but I did not expect Charlie to end up the way she did.
No.
Yeah. I
But
didn't
I
either.
think
No.
in some way, don't you think that's Alexa's way of being like, fine, you guys finally got what you wanted?
I felt like a lot went
to
into
the
that.
fans.
I felt like a lot
Yeah,
went
because
into
it's
that.
like, yeah, because it's like they were so cruel to her.
I almost feel like
People
she
were
could have gone.
so cruel
I
to
felt
her.
her. I'm going to say this: her acting in this episode, I feel like she held back. I really think she could have gone further, and really drew
Well,
upon some experiences.
wouldn't that go to such a dark place though? Like you've just tapped into some really
Sorry.
dark
Yeah,
stuff to do
I
that.
know, but
Like I
I,
just
I feel like she should go there. Alexa, if I have any advice I'm talking to you directly, Alexa. Alexa, we're friends, all right? We are. We're good friends. We're not that great friends. But go there. Use it. They gave you a gift. Use it, right?
well, I'm glad that she finally got to say like, you know what? Fine. Here you go. Screw you guys. Here it is. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something poetic about
No,
that.
I agree. I agree. I'm just saying I feel like she could have taken that just taken that a little further.
It's okay. It's okay.
Fuck you guys.
She's a
This
young
is
Sorry.
she's a
this
young girl.
is
She doesn't have to
she
tap into
this is for
darkness
you,
like that.
Madison. That's what she should have said.
Well, anyway. But again,
Um,
going back to that moment, I really enjoyed that they did not sugarcoat it. They gave many people who were waiting for this, and for it to go this way, they gave them that fan service. They didn't pull back. They didn't pull any punches. Madison continued the like she did with Troy in the last episode. Anyway, sorry, my little impression of Madison or Kim Dickens as Madison. Listen, again, I'm just reminding
Oh,
the audience that I like
you
Madison as a
know,
character. Okay.
Owen said something really interesting in the chat that
Well,
I'd like to
let's go
just
through all
state
of it.
before we move on to something else because it has to do with Charlie and the depression portion.
Well, do you want me to go through all
Well
the
here
comments? Well,
I'll do it real quick.
okay.
Wait a
Um,
minute. G. Wilson said, "Is it bad that Charlie's hair in this episode reminded me of the Megan movie, but like brunette and black?"
It's a wig.
I even wrote in my notes she
Yeah.
had the worst wig on.
She had a
Like
wig.
it was
the
awful.
wig was okay. What the issue was is that her eyebrows are not the same color and they had to darken them like to match it, and it that made it really obvious.
Uncanny, right?
I felt like
Yeah.
it made it look really obvious. Okay, so Thomas said, as soon as I saw that before the episode, I knew somebody was going to do it, and it only made sense that it was Charlie. Walking Dead Eternal said, I think we have 3 more episodes or 4. Thomas said she did it for Alicia. She said that place was what Alicia wanted.
Wait, we have 3 more episodes. Or sorry,
G. Wilson's said
sorry.
4 more episodes, but the last 2 air on the same day.
That's right.
Correct. So week before Thanksgiving this ends, and I'm eternally mad about it. Jason Cohn says, I think Alicia wouldn't like Madison asking Charlie that. I agree 100%. Thomas said, oh, I feel Bridget Grant coming on. You weren't
You got it.
kidding. You did. Okay. Owen said, here's what Owen said that I feel like this is a really good point. I think it was the resurfacing of the emotions. Charlie was making it better for herself, helping Lucy with the gas and everything. But she saw Madison and told her what she did to Nick. And it brought out all the pain and guilt she felt in, say, 410 when she tried killing herself when she was locked in with Alicia. That
Not wrong.
kind of brought that full circle.
Which
So, like,
added the fact
good
that she
point. Thank
called
you for
herself a
bringing that
piece of
up.
crap too. Can I also
Yeah.
say that man, I had something in the chamber for that too. I'm sorry, I lost it.
I mean, you
Well,
also
I'm
have
gonna
to
read up
you have
these
to look at
last
it this
few
way also.
comments.
Okay, go for it.
Uh,
Wait,
Charlie has
let Bridget just say the
well,
last few
this
comments.
was to go to what
Okay.
she just said though. Charlie has spent the last 7 years thinking that everything was all right. I was forgiven.
Hmm.
And to have
Maybe.
someone well, I'm pretty sure she did because Alicia forgave her, you know? So I'm not saying
Doesn't
she
mean
didn't
she forgave
still
herself,
I'm
but
not saying she
yes.
doesn't still feel guilt, but I feel like she was doing okay with it. You know, like she was like, fine, I have a purpose. I'm doing something useful that can help people. I'm making up for it. And then Madison just suddenly reappears, and all of that guilt and everything just rushed back. And maybe that just kind of overwhelmed her to the point that she didn't think clearly either, because I just don't see Charlie as the unaliving herself type.
Right. Wow, you used some modern terminology there. But I also think, yeah, it's kind of interesting because on a narrative level, it works so well. The 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 sequence of events from pushing Charlie to do her bidding, right? To pulling back when she realized how much time had passed. Again, another reference to how much time had passed and how much growth she was trying to attain and how much she was trying to pay penance in service to Nick and Madison and Alicia. And then the whole make it count from Alicia that carried over from the end, near the end of season 7, right? I think narratively and story-wise and poetically, everything that happened in this episode was just so spot on. It's like when you go down to the ground level about who these characters are, I can see why you have I can see why you might have a system error with what Charlie did in the end. I can definitely see that. Because like after all the growth, this is how it goes down. Or this is how she chose to have it go down.
After everyone works, because apparently Padre healed her from her radiation sickness, even though the problem with the Walker experiment was the radiation was too dangerous and making it damaging people too much, but somehow they can like fix I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, this is radiation. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
After it doesn't matter, whatever.
It's targeted
after
radiation
everybody
versus
went
broad
through all the
spectrum
trouble
radiation.
to save you, and after everybody went through all the trouble to save you, and
Yeah.
blah 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 blah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this is how you go out.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the ground level.
I feel like it's a waste. If somebody's gonna unalive themselves, let it be Madison, because she's old and can't breathe and is useless. So get rid of her and let the kid stay, who has a long and profitable life ahead of her.
Yeah, yeah. I don't agree. Madison forever. Just kidding. Charlie, goodbye. No,
Darth Madison.
I'm kidding. I don't really know. Listen, I again
stole you from your father.
I stole you from your father. Victor, cue the. Anyway, yeah, I know I had something.
Morgan, I have the high ground.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so in terms of narrative, what I really liked most about this idea was that maybe this is why I was spared. So that I can make it to this point to protect Padre, to make it count for something, make my life thus far. Because, listen, just on the level of her having cancer, even, but also having been spared the wrath of Victor, Alicia, Lucy for killing Nick. Like, maybe that's what this is for. Maybe all of this was to protect Padre.
I just have to say, though, like, it's just a place. Like, how many times have we, like, had this conversation?
But it's the place. It's the place.
But it's just a place. But why? Just because they say so. Like, every place falls. That's, like, always the point.
Listen, that's what we say. Like, even the Commonwealth will fall. I don't know. The show's over.
Crazy. Like,
the show's over. We can't litigate it. But no, The Walking Dead did that. The Walking Dead did that too, though. That's the thing.
I know. That's why I'm like, we keep having the same conversation.
But guys, Bridget, they haven't seen The Walking Dead.
I know.
So you can't blame.
It's very evident.
You can't blame them for. And you know what? Okay, and let's get really realistic instead of show realistic. How are you going to tell somebody to not find that place? And this place does look like the place. It has defensible borders, like the most geographic defensible borders you could ever have. So if they keep building it up and having these little security systems, kind of like a campus colony, where you have the gated iron doors, so like in case you die when you're falling asleep, you're there behind a metal door that you can't bust through as a walker.
I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to have a home. I get it,
Yeah.
but like, is it worth?
Yeah.
When does it stop being worth lives?
Well, so
this is the age-old question.
I see what you're saying.
Everybody, every time, everywhere.
No, and I see
every war.
I definitely see what you're saying. It's just that, it's like, how do you tell somebody to stop, or it's not worth it.
I don't know.
It's
just
hard.
Worth my eye roll. That's all.
Well, you know what? And think of it also on the story level, because people fought and died to protect this place on both sides, on the Padre side, on the children who took over Padre, and then also now Madison. And people are really, on a narrative level, people are looking at Padre from that lens of Alicia, make it count, make this count. Make this the tower that Victor was trying to do when he had good intentions, right?
Okay, but Dave, here's the thing. Here's
What's
the thing.
no?
Here's
Don't
the
fight.
thing that happened.
I'm right and you're
Here's the
wrong.
thing that happened.
Just kidding.
Madison came in. She came in there and she was like, "I'm gonna blow up your spot, and I'm gonna take Troy and I'm gonna make him like I'm gonna poke the bear." And then guess what?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then everyone's gonna be like,
Yeah.
"You're messed up. Something's fundamentally wrong with you."
Yes.
And she's gonna be like, "Okay, I'm out." Victor, you deal with it.
Okay, so let's stay here. Let's stay here. I love that part. Do you know why he said I can't do this without you? Because he's tried that before. And it doesn't work.
He did.
He's
He
afraid
did.
of being that guy again. And I
Yes,
that's
because he
so
doesn't want to be in charge because he's done everything. Like they had like the whole quorum thing versus him leading on his own because he doesn't trust himself.
on top of
I
everything
totally get it.
else.
But
It's
also,
so
like,
delicious. It's so delicious. Like she doesn't know what he did. She still doesn't know what he did technically at the tower. Like the horrors that he wrought on everybody. It's so delicious. And I like the tension. I love it. I know it's frustrating though. But I love it.
so frustrating.
But it's the
It's
best.
so frustrating because she's like, "Peace, I'm out."
But this is his
Good
chance.
luck.
And you know what? Wouldn't it be great if Victor turned out to actually
This is his
finally
second
grow?
chance. I really hope
It's
so.
his like
I
fourth
really,
chance.
really, really hope
It's his fourth chance.
I love Victor so much though. I'll never stop loving Victor.
And
I don't
now
know
he has
why.
somebody to fight for. That's the thing.
just-
When do you remember when he said we have to take the fight to Troy? I don't know exactly. Oh no. When Madison was about to give the map to Padre, and then Victor finally steps in. He goes, "That's where Frank and Klaus are. That's where they are." I
know.
And I love that. It's like, wow, this is what it's gonna be. This is what gets him to kind of be a better man. Like, okay, maybe in the past it might have been Alicia, but Alicia, like, he doesn't sleep with Alicia, so doesn't have a child with Alicia. I'm just saying. It's different. It is different.
Well,
It's
like,
different.
These people.
No, that's the baby daddy. You just figured it out. Strand, you are the father.
Oh God, is
Oh,
this
no.
like Daryl being with Dog all over again? Anyway,
So the thing
nice,
is though
nice
is that
Shandy.
with Frank and Klaus, like
Sorry.
he's been with them longer too though. We forget this because there were time jumps and so it's like it's really confusing to keep track of. But he was with them longer. They are like I think one of my issues I said one of my issues with this episode was something having to do with the writing. It had to do a lot with that argument between Madison and Charlie, but the other big thing was that everyone's reaction to seeing each other again is so like down here where they're like, "Oh, hello there."
I didn't
I
feel
s-
like. Did
I've
you feel
said
that in
that.
this episode too? Because I
I
didn't.
said
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I said
yeah.
that when Madison and June were reunited. I was like, well, that was lackluster.
You did.
And then Madison and Strand, it's like she was just a horrible, terrible person. Like that was
and
not
then
the way it was supposed to go.
Lucy sees her and she's like, and Madison's like, "Luciana?" And then Lucy's like, "Madison, I thought you were dead."
But you,
And like it's just
Look,
really like
But
Everybody
but
is
here's
as
the
happy
thing.
to see Madison as I was.
But here's the
but at
thing.
least for
Here's
this
the thing.
episode. Oh, you're gonna say it. Okay, good.
Well, no, what I compare this to is like, okay, so us, right? When we see each other in person, there's video of this. We are insane. We're like
We are a little bit, yeah.
we're like, Rachel's yelling at people. I'm like, shut up, and like everyone's like yelling and like, oh my god,
Okay.
and we're
It's-
all okay. So, and that's like
I just want to say one thing to that.
we haven't known each other that long.
just wanna say
we
one-
certainly didn't live through an apocalypse together.
I just want to say one thing to that.
Well, kind
Nobody does that for me. At all. There's no. Oh my god. Oh, it's Dave.
You never surprise us.
It's Dave. It's just Dave.
It's Dave. It's just Dave. Okay, shut
Which
up, Dave.
actually, okay, I don't mind because you know what? What I feel when I see you guys again is, oh, that's my old friends, but in person. It's like I like that. It's like picking up the
Okay,
ball after just dropping it a
Dave,
second ago.
Even though you're saying that,
I know.
we don't walk up to you and we're like, "Oh, hey, Dave."
No, it's more like I play it cool and I go like, "Hey, Bridget," and then but I'm literally trying to hold back from peeing my pants. It's because
It's
I'm
more
so
like-
excited. I'm like a
it's more like,
dog
"Hey,
that doesn't
Dave."
has incontinence.
It's more like, hey Dave, where are our tickets?
Yeah, exactly.
partially
Dave,
true.
you got the tickets?
Partially
no,
true.
but
Where are
we
tickets?
do-
Also fix my
we
computer
do
in
we
person
do like
now.
we do all hug and we're like
Yeah.
excited to see each other.
Yes.
So
Yes.
for
I'm
me,
just
and
kidding.
maybe this is just like a personality difference, right? But like I
Yeah.
I am very I'm very touchy. I'm sorry if you ever meet me in person and you don't like that. I'm just gonna apologize in advance. I'm so sorry. I would try to respect your wishes. You're
Don't.
just gonna have to tell me ahead
Just
of
be
time.
you.
I'm not a hugger because I am a hugger, and I'm like even I'll kiss you on the cheek because I love you and I'm so excited to see you and I'm so happy. And I'm that way with people I haven't seen in years. I'm just like the thought of seeing someone I haven't seen in so long. There's just something so special about that,
No,
especially
we
if it's
act
by
we act
happenstance.
like that when we've seen each other on Zoom the night before, and we're
I
still like
I
that.
know. But for instance, I was in a PetSmart recently. I was up in Wisconsin for a conference and I stopped by my mom's house for the weekend. And we went to a PetSmart because she'd just gotten a new puppy and we had to pick up like a lead for outside. And while I'm in the store, I don't want to see anybody. I'm in the town that I went to high school in. I don't want to see anybody. I'm not in the mood. But I see my friend Logan in the back of the store
And
and
you
we
lose your
both
shit.
run towards each other and we hug and I'm getting emotional because I haven't really spoken to him since then, but like I love this kid so much. Seeing him made me so happy. And that was just happenstance. So like for these people to see each other and not be overwhelmed with emotion is so baffling to me.
So, yes, for everybody else but Lucy, because I think when Lucy sees these three people, I think she's in retrospect when you watch the episode again, you realize why. First of all, I gave you your freedom. You, I don't want to ever. And again, this goes to when Victor says thanks for the fuel. He's shaking Lucy's hand, and Lucy gives her that smile, gives him that smile. But it's like that handshake that's like extended, like it's she has to lean really far forward instead of getting close to Victor, and
Mm-hmm.
right. But so first of all, I thought, okay, at least she didn't starve herself and die. In that she accepted
True.
Victor's thanks. Okay, I thought of
True.
that. I don't want to dwell on that, but because it'll make me mad.
It's
Because
not in
of
my head canon, so it doesn't matter.
right, exactly. But then there's the other. So, but then the Madison thing. Seeing Madison again brought up very complicated feelings for Lucy. So I felt like her reaction was appropriate, at least for her. She's like to the point where like, okay, I have to deal with Iron Tiger now. Bye.
Okay, I want to go
Everybody
back
else,
to the
like, I don't get.
comments. I want to go back to the comments, Dave, because Owen is just delivering like hard truths in the
Owen
comments right
Owen is
now.
the shit today. I gotta admit.
Owen, you
Can I
are
start from
killing
the
it.
top though? Because like oh crap, I started. Thomas says oh crap, I started drinking at 3 years old. 3 years old. So that's why I still pee the bed. Let's go into your alcoholism question.
Yeah.
David Cron says everything that Sharon said. Yeah, obviously. Thomas said I think she looked more like Wendell. Yep, I actually thought that actually. So anyway, but not the way you're thinking, Thomas. David Cron says it should be Iron Butterfly. G Wilson says, is it bad that Charlie's hair in this episode? Yep, we talked about that. G Wilson says I miss Skid Mark. Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't really care. I'm not a pet person.
I love Skid
But
Mark.
then I just gave up the ghost just now. Jason Gunn says, yeah, his face lit up. Such a great guy in person, super nice guy. Yes, I've heard that a lot. He is amazing philanthropist, incredible musician, by the way, if you ever heard his stuff.
Before you move on, I just want to say that I got a belated birthday card from Kendall in the mail.
Oh yeah.
Fan art in progress, which is so sweet, with a very touching note because of a conversation that we had recently, which just it's very touching, so sweet. She sent me a picture of Daniel that she drew because she remembered that Daniel was my favorite Fear character, and I received it this Monday while like from watching this episode. So I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. It was just like a beautiful, touching moment. It's very
Good,
sweet.
good, good. I'm glad it finally came because I gave her your address. Anyway, Jason, sorry. I think
Steve's
I think it worked out
doxing me on the
okay.
internet.
Jason says, okay, yeah. Walking to Eternal says, speaking of tiger, quote unquote, Shiva, the OG animal. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's a nice callback. David Carnes laughs, obviously, because I said something funny. Just me. Owen says,
It's me, Dave. It was me. It's me.
no, it was definitely not me. Owen says, not necessarily just a place, quote unquote, for what Padre is, but it's the place for everyone. The amount of people that they have, if they lost that, what other options are really viable for that amount of survivors? Yeah, parents and children that were trying to reunite in a safe and secure place. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to. And also, it really dovetails nicely with what Lucy's doing. we're already moving in almost like this post-apocalypse or post-apocalypse reality. That's sort of like we're kind of like how the Commonwealth was the place, and I don't know, World Beyond. I don't know, World Beyond has its own thing, but yeah, we're already moving into the space where like we're in phase 2 of the apocalypse, where okay, now we're starting to establish like a back to normal reality, or we're trying to at the least desperately. So I like this. I love your comment, Owen, and it kind of helps with that with what Troy's going after Padre, because he has people and he's been searching for a home, but when he hears of a place like Padre with that many people, he feels like it's a need. Yeah, he's desperate, and I love that he establishes that need in this episode. Like it's not even about necessarily taking it away from Madison, as I had said. He's a psychopath. That's all he wants to do. He's just using the parents and all that stuff. Well, no, we're getting an eyeful of what his presuppositions were about Madison. Like it's very ironic because all the things that I had said about Troy in the previous episode about him being a psychopath, that's me putting my suppositions on Troy. Meanwhile, he is putting suppositions on Madison. It doesn't hurt that he's not wrong, but intentions matter, right? She'll destroy anything, whatever. But she did that for her kids, even though they were misguided. Whatever. She didn't do that to hurt you, Troy. She did that for her kids. You know, you messed that because you're a messed up individual, and he's still messed up. Okay, whatever. Anyway, Jason Cohen says I really like the new Strand. I do too. He's very complicated, and he's still anyway. G. Wilson says going from season 7 where Strand distanced himself from love in order to lead G. Wilson's to season 8 where he embraces love in order to fight for Padre's protection is interesting to me. Yes, the reverse, and it's like set in stone with this hotel that they were in before. It's the negative tower. Well, in order to be together, we need love, and we need to embrace the stranger, that sort of thing. And G. Wilson says, it's always just Dave. Yes, I know. G. Wilson says, I live this reality. It's just Dave. Hi, Dave. I'll fix my computer, Dave. Where's my tickets, Dave? Where's my free merch, Dave? Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. They're the best. They show me just as much, not just as much. Anyway, David Carranza says, I would lose my shit if I met you, David. I would lose my shit too, David Carranza. I'm a really good hugger. I'm a better hugger. And I have bear fur under here. Anyway, Owen says, I'd say that they're very hardened at this point. Seeing people, yeah, I totally agree. Seeing people dying they loved, it would hurt so much for the good things that are hard to really take and appreciate. That's why the emotions came later when Lucy and Madison hugged. Yeah, and then still said, yeah, but bitch, you gotta go. I gotta go. This is the last fuel I'm giving you, which is fair. It's fair.
Yeah,
but their emotion is there. The emotion is there. Sorry, I'm obsessed with the show now. Yes, that's why we're here, Owen. That's why we're here, baby. Listen.
It's literally why we talk about
And by the way,
this.
Owen, if you like this, and we're not always going to go live, so consider following us on Ko-fi or Patreon, by the way. In case we do pre-recorded episodes, you can be in the real-time chat without the lag.
It's free to just
It's
follow.
free. It's free to attend the recording sessions. It's free to get the recording schedules, but we only post them on Ko-fi or Patreon. Just so you know. KO to Shafada, we'll say at the end, if you stick around to the end.
If you want to be on here with us,
there is a slot open.
That's an option. Anyway.
And it's there. It's there. If you look at the tiers, if you want to, that's fine. We don't care about that necessarily, though. But anyway, Thomas says, to Thomas' point, if you happen to stick around, Owen, Thomas says 60 minutes is greater than 180 minutes, which we haven't even crossed
I have
120.
to go in 10
10 minutes.
minutes.
That's right. Walking to the Journal says, I'm kind of mixed up on the timeline of the TW. Yes, you're in.
I like how he just kind of skimmed over that, Bridget. Yes. 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes, 10 o'clock.
Yes.
I'm not going to
Yes,
waste
yes.
time.
You guys
I'm
always
trying
say
not
you
to
have to
waste time.
go.
I'm respecting your time. Walking to the Eternal says, I'm kind of mixed up on the timeline of TW Universe. And I said, you know what? To your point, don't even bother. Don't even bother.
Hey,
Just
Mitchie.
time is more of a feeling. Walking Dead Eternal. Jason Cohn says, Walking Dead Eternal season 8 is 12 years after the start. Yeah, I'll take your word for it, Jason Cohn. I feel
Season
like
8 is 12 years after the start.
I've always said that we were.
Yeah.
I've always said that we
They're
were.
roughly equal with the Walking
Yeah,
Dead.
I feel like that too. Mitchell says hello. I told you we'd be on, Mitchell, by the way. I really enjoyed this episode way more than last
Hello,
one. Yes, me
Mitchell.
too. Following.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Following Patreon.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Let me deliver the
Owen.
line like anybody would in the apocalypse. Apparently. Hello there, Mitchell.
But Mitchell doesn't know what you're referencing, so he
Hello,
just
Miss.
got
Okay,
on.
it's good.
Hello, Mitchell.
He wasn't on then either.
For some
Jesus, you
reason,
guys are
that
terrible
reminds
at
me
this.
of the Seinfeld. Hello.
Hello.
That's what it reminds me
Or
of.
like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Hello, Newman.
Newman. I don't think
No,
there's
the
even is there
belly. The
even a
belly
hello for
episode.
Newman? It's just like Newman.
It's just Newman.
Yeah.
The hello is when Jerry does like a voice for his girlfriend's stomach.
Hello.
By the way, this is Jerry
Yeah, I remember that one.
Seinfeld. Another. See, you guys are terrible at this. Anyway,
I'm sorry, I'm dating myself. I'm old.
and you're not even giving these poor children watching these.
Go watch Seinfeld, you guys. If
But
you
they
don't
don't
know
even
what it is, go
know.
watch it.
Anyway, Owen says following the Patreon. Yes.
Seinfeld sitcom network television. What is network television?
It's not what you're watching now. Anyway, G. Wilson says, I like this episode and the last one, but this one was more intense. Yeah. G. Wilsons keep laughing too. At me only, like David Carranza. Okay.
Thanks,
So,
Owen, for following
oh,
us.
in case you missed it, okay, because I didn't know what was happening at first. Do you remember Hawk, one of the prefects, was
Yeah,
with Daniel?
He was. Yeah.
And what I'm going to, in my head canon, assume is his father, his ginger father, with Daniel. I want to say that that's a thing. I want to say that Daniel or Madison or whoever found their father, Hawk's father, and they're in that shop. This is my head canon. It's my head canon. I want it to be the case, like father and son with Daniel. And that, why is nobody
True,
reacting to
that's
this
nice.
fact?
Okay.
Okay. I like that
Sure.
and okay, to maybe even go to the point of how we said people die in the episode that they're introduced. I like that they're still using these kids that we saw on the TV already, and they're not gone.
That we
Yes,
saw
that's
on
fair.
the TV. I'm
Yeah.
glad these.
Alrighty.
Well, I mean, Fear has such a great track record with keeping kids around, so
Also, in addition to, okay, Walking Dead. Okay, wait. Walking Dead says, I know we've been talking about it, but I'm free whenever you guys are. So yes, maybe 2 weeks from now, or maybe 2 weeks from now, because we have a lot on the burner in the next week or so.
Can we get through Fear? Can we get through Fear?
Maybe
Like,
we can do it after
ends?
Fear. Yeah,
Like right after Thanksgiving?
and also Walking Dead Eternal.
Maybe?
We're not talking about Hawk from
Oh gosh,
Cobra
no,
Kai.
then we hit Christmas season.
We're talking about
Never
Hawk
mind.
from one of the children, by the way. One of the children who was named, one of the prefects, the Padre prefects, was named Hawk, and he was given the business to Baby Mo, essentially. Baby Mo, Daniel, in that one scene in episode 3, I want to say. And, well, there you go. Okay, so I was going to break something out. I can't
you
remember.
like Bridget as pumpkins over there.
I thought about that today. I looked in the mirror and I went, oh my God, I'm David S. Pumpkins. I didn't even mean to be. I'm David S. Pumpkins.
Spooky. Yeah.
It is like the silliest. It is the silliest. Like
Am I
what?
supposed to know who that is?
I don't know. I'm Jewish. I don't know why I brought Judaism into this.
What?
I don't believe in
What?
this. It's not in my tradition. I don't even know what we're talking about right now. And I think we've run the gamut on this episode, really, to be honest. And
Let me make sure I aired all my grievances.
yeah, mine are all in. By the way, in another bonus that you get when you tip us or join our membership tier on Ko-fi is that all the notes that I took that probably haven't made this episode, you can get on our Ko-fi and Patreon. It's literally the notes I take before we get on, and it covers basically. I really kind of just wrote a lot of dialogue in my notes in this episode because, as much as I do criticize the dialogue, some of it actually felt like it had a relevance in like pointing to certain things that I really liked, at least, even though the economy of words in the dialogues isn't that great. But can we
I
go?
have two tiny things.
Oh wait, one is that you were right about Troy having a daughter. We should have
I know.
highlighted that.
I
We should have
know, I
highlighted that.
was.
Now here's the thing.
I hate to make like wild theories usually.
I know.
So it's surprising to me that one, that I vocalized a theory on air, and then two, that it was actually correct, because usually when I do, it's later immediately wrong.
Right.
So-
Well, Rachel has the same problem too, by the way. She's aired that grievance, by the way, live. And I just want to say that because I have to tell you that I knew about that. That's one of the things I knew about, the spoilers I knew about. And I couldn't say anything about it. And I hope I didn't feed that
You
into
made
your
a face at the time.
I
but
did, and
was
I really
like,
wished I didn't. And I hated
uh,
it, but it's a face of hate. I hate that I know this, and I don't know how to deal with this, but I feel like I've been doing okay. There's more stuff that I know, but
Let's preface this. Jason Cohn did not
it was
spoil
not
him.
Jason Cohn. It was not just somebody else in entertainment media who shall not be named. Because it's not their fault. They didn't know.
It was Voldemort.
To be fair,
Um,
they thought that that everybody knew. That's why it was told to me.
Did
Like
you say Voldemort?
yeah,
she's like a true Southern girl.
Voldemort.
Voldemort. Why? What would you say, Charity?
It's Voldemort.
Oh, I
She-
like the way I
It's like
say
she
it.
said Baltimore, like BALL.
He's bald.
Baltimore.
No, Charity's taking it on the. Well, he
No,
does look like a
It's
testicle.
Voldemort. I said it. Shut up.
Anyway,
Um,
what
it's
are your
like
grievances?
Owl. This is owl. All
This is
over.
Al Althea Sevchek Bragowski.
Althea.
Bragowski.
Althea. Oh my god, that's
Apparently
a meme right
that's
there.
what I said.
Althea.
That's what I said. Cause,
That's a
'cause
Lois.
was like, "Who's owl?"
Althea.
So my two tiny things are them cigarette prices though. They were
I wrote that too.
$2.75.
High five, high five. And by the way, hi Head of Films on Instagram. Yeah.
I was like, what?
Why didn't I
That's
write down
wild.
more? There were some other things too, like obviously the
Um,
Billy Bass fish thing on the wall.
Oh yeah.
What else did I write? Because I thought one of them was actually well, Low Country Landing. I couldn't find the map for that. I should mention that.
I couldn't find that either. I did look.
I really tried hard, and I wasn't really necessarily looking for that. But anyway, I was looking for anything named Landing near Savannah, and hopefully it'd find the area, but couldn't. I wrote the cigarette prices though, didn't I?
$2.75.
Yeah, I know.
$2.75 a pack. Do you guys? That's crazy.
I like the faint country music, which Daniel was saying, who's in here listening to this awful music? Because it's music. It's country music.
It's the worst.
If you really pay attention to it. Listen,
That's
it's not.
rough.
Listen, in the apocalypse, it's like, oh, music. I'll take it.
Okay, so the only other thing that I wrote down was that Madison freaking out about the one-armed walker. Logically, like Alicia would not be anywhere near them.
Not only that, but they would look like raggedy stumps because walkers don't heal. Alicia's stump was healed and like they had tapered it over and it was like a healed. These are raggedy where they've just been chopped off. It would look nothing like that.
But I think we've
Yeah.
established that, like just like with Nick, she doesn't know the gory details because she wasn't told by Morgan what they were. You know,
It's not that. It's more just the like, oh, my daughter, I failed her. It's like that whole thing.
You're asking Madison. Yes, obviously.
I do.
But you're
I
also
do like
asking
that
Madison
Troy's
to be
messing
like
with her
us.
Like that, though. I do like that Troy's messing with her like that. Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Can I
he
tell
had
you-
some funny? He had some funny moments again this
Yeah.
episode.
Well, so,
I don't know.
so
He kind of cracked me.
I
up.
love and I wrote down some of those lines as well in my notes. But her Madison seeing the walker that she thought was Alicia.
Stumpy.
But it's that thing, right? It's like Stumpy Walker anyway. But it's that thing that
Oh
gets
my
in.
god, Ren and Stumpy. A spin-off with Mo and Alicia with Ren and Stumpy.
Elton, Alicia. It's the Stumpy Club, the Ren and Stumpy Club. So, with regards to Madison though, like it is like a real thing. I remember I've had a longtime girlfriend whom I still have this phenomenon with, is that, and every now and again, not really that often, but it's that feeling that when you see somebody on the street that resembles that person, it really gets in your head. You kind of forgot about it, but then it gets in your head. You're like, is it that person? But they live so far away. Are they in this city? Oh my God, did I just pass her in the street? That phenomenon that now everywhere you look, you're going to be looking for Alicia's body, and anything that may resemble that body, it's going to trigger you. It's like, oh, is that Alicia? Is that Alicia? So I really bought in, especially the way they filmed this episode. I like the tight the push-ins into her face, and the way she
I did like
reacted.
that.
Yeah, the
I
way
did
she
really
reacted
like
to
that.
Charlie. They did this interesting technique, which you can see when people use this technique, they really go hard on it, meaning they make it pretty obvious. But when they do the push in, they do the push in. And when they do the pull out, the technique is you pull the camera back. Usually it's you pull the camera back slowly while zooming in. And so the background actually moves away from the subject that you're filming, that you're focused on. So if you'll notice that really quickly
It's
as
a
go ahead.
famous technique used in Jaws for one of the most famous scenes when Brody's on the beach and something. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It's only a 50-year-old movie, but when Brody's on the beach and something happens.
Thank you.
And
I've been busy the last 50 years. I'm
Yes.
just kidding. I've seen Jaws.
that's one of the most famous scenes, and that was a Steven Spielberg thing, pushing in while pulling back at the zooming in while pulling back, and
Right.
it just gives you this like tunnel vision feeling. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like like the world just dropped out from underneath you. Now the way they did it in this episode was very quick and very subtle, so you don't really notice it, and that's expert technique. It's not like there's a term for this. It's not gratuitous, right? The way if you want to see a version of this that is gratuitous and very obvious, and it's like, oh, look what I can do. Oh my God, the babysitter's dead, right? Isn't that? Do you remember that movie? So when
Yes.
they
don't
find
tell
out
Mom the babysitter's dead.
yeah, when they find out how this babysitter, this old lady babysitter, is a horrible person, all of a sudden it does that technique, and all the kids and the background drops back because it's zooming in while pulling back on this wide shot. It's just, I don't know. I'll put it in the blog maybe if I can find it. It's pretty interesting. So anyway, the shots in this episode and the filming and getting people's faces, Charlie's point of view as she's looking down when she's coming to, looking at the glass, and also some of the scenes where she's facing Troy. Troy's looking into the camera, which is meant to be Charlie, which is also meant to be you, right? You are in Charlie's headspace. You are seeing the world from her eyes. You're experiencing like this kind of tense situation. You're like, what would you do? And the camera is shaky too, so it really feels like you're in her headspace as she's looking at Troy, but Troy's really just, Daniel Sharman's looking at the camera. Some really good shots. The truck that pulls in at the end next to the semi, I noticed that they hit the marks just right, and the angle of the camera is just wide enough so that the entire truck fits in the shot without taking all the camera space too. So pay attention to the shots in this episode is what I'm saying. And I know you have to go.
I do, but you know what I just realized?
What's that?
The reason Charlie said she couldn't go back wasn't because Troy's people caught her. It's because she had set up a bomb in the freaking truck.
That's what I was trying. That was the second thing I was trying to
Dude.
tell you. You're like, you're
I'm so
femsplaining. Again, you're femsplaining.
So dumb. You know what? It's about time.
What do
that I
you
get
mean?
you back.
Are you doing hashtag times up on me?
Yeah, I am.
Is that how that works? I don't know.
Times down.
Times
David.
down, David. You know what? Should we let's read some comments and we'll end the show, I think, right? I feel like I don't want to end. I always feel bad when you have to leave the show before we do.
I mean, you can keep going, but like,
No.
you know, people are gonna quit watching.
I
when they
need to
leave.
go too.
Anyway, Mitchell says, I'm glad.
Just kidding.
I'm glad Luciana finally got a title card. We covered that. Walking Dead Channel says, yeah, I could schedule the live one for yours. Okay, great. Thank you, Walking Dead Channel. Thank you for being patient. It's just been a really wild
thank
ride
you.
with the charity this weekend and everything. So it kind of pushed back my clips and all. It's a whole thing. Mitchell says, after the tower and the walkers later. Yep. David, I'm Jewish. LMAO, he's so adorable. I agree. Jason Cohn says, I didn't spoil it. I know Jason Cohn, which we said already. G. Wilson's Lord Voldemort. Love it. Call back. Dave Curran says, I love you, nerds. I'm in tears. Good. It's where we want
I've
you.
never had anybody judge for pronunciation.
Y'all. Well, you just haven't been on long enough.
I wasn't judging. I thought it was fun. I thought it was clever. I'm like, that's pretty funny.
You hear that
I'm
character
not that clever.
Voldemort?
I'm not that clever.
Y'all heard of this character? He's kind of
Lord
Voldemort. Voldemort. Anyway, G. Wilson's the scene where Amanda said the flashbacks to her and Nick. Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about that for just a hot
that's what
sec.
they should have named Alpha. She should have been
Voldemort.
Lord Voldemort.
They did. Anyway, you just have to be on the ground. G. Wilson says the scene where Madison had flashbacks of her and Nick only reminded me of the fact that I loathe the yellowish filter from season 4, but I also hated the gray filter from that season 2,
Amen.
which we're kind of sort of seeing now, only it's not gratuitous, right? It's kind of like
with the filters already.
But to that end, I liked the use. I did like the use of the flashbacks because it did remind me of Close Your Eyes, 410. Think I'm right about that? I always do this wrong. Is it 410? Okay, so I finally got it right. Which was the episode where Alicia forgave Charlie in the basement. She was trying to, and right. I love the way they bring the callback for at least Charlie. I know with Madison it was Nick, and remembering that, and that's fine. And I loved it. So to G. Wilson's point, but when they bring it back for Charlie right before she's shooting herself, it's the same device. And I wrote down exactly who she thought of in that moment. It was flashes to being in the car with Alicia, remembering her parents at the beach at Galveston. I think it was Galveston, right? When they turned, etc. And remembering her parents, the ocean, like envisioning the waves lapping her feet, like in that episode at the end of the episode. And it's like almost like, I'm grateful to you for making it to this point and for giving me the life that I probably shouldn't have had. Then Alicia again, before she left her. Wait. Yeah. Oh, this is the last flashback. Okay. There was another flashback before that too. As Charlie sifts through memories of Nick, Madison, Daniel, Alicia, and Luciana. Okay. And then at the end, we see the last image that she sees before she decides to off herself is Alicia again before she left her at the raft. And it's literally the words that she says. It's make it count. It's make it count. And it's just so beautiful. Anyway, you're reading the comments. Instead of listening to my beautiful words, right? David Carranza is the only one I can count on at this point.
You said we were leaving.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Listen, G. Wilson's got my number. And Walking to Terrell says, Muzak, LMAO, that's funny. It was. Owen says it's also interesting that we don't know exactly when exactly Troy encountered Alicia. To Madison, it could have been at any time in the last 7 years, so she could have heavily decayed possibly. Yes, that's also true. It's something to consider. I do think that Troy encountered Alicia at the tower because I assume Troy heard the call out Alicia made to bring everyone else to the tower. That's what I was thinking from the start of the season, actually, to find Madison. Jason Cohn says, great camera guy. I assume so, Jason Cohn. And I want to see if it is not Michael Satrazimus. It was Alex Sushitsky. Is Alex Sushitsky still doing or is it Nick Bernardoni that's doing the DP? Get back to me when you can. Thomas Mattis says, y'all need help. 410 is my favorite episode of the series. Listen, it's hard to disagree, but I will disagree. But it's one of the ones I reference so much. 410 is a top 5 episode of the series. Well, you said it was your favorite, dude. First episode is when they finally unalive John Dory. Oh no, you son of a bitch! Dakota is greater than June. Next episode, Dakota comes back. She's alive in a jar. What's left of her? Wasn't she like Ash? Anyway, are we calling it? They're just now having a conversation with Travis because Travis wants to sleep right now, and they're gonna have a fight on live right now. They're gonna fight.
No, he's gonna watch A Haunting in Venice without me.
No, he's not, because guys, if you like can I do this? Does anybody else have anything to bring up?
No, we can go. I have to edit videos though. This does not have to do with the time of the podcast.
Man, she's monopolizing Squawking Dead time. And meanwhile, I'm bringing up topics in the middle of reading comments, so who am I? Who am I? Anyway. I did not
our
hear
marriage comes second to this podcast.
Listen, I actually got into a thing. I actually got into a thing with Evelyn on Sunday because like the charity thing. Because she was like the first time she ever felt bad about me not being around her. Anyways, I'm not gonna.
Oh no.
This is normally being the unedited podcast. Anyway, so guys, if you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to know you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what we might have missed. But remember to tell us after every episode. Every episode. And if you really like what you've heard, consider following us for free on either well, there goes Charity. Consider following us for free on
She
either
left.
Ko-fi or Patreon. That's ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead for the times that we don't do live episodes. Because that's the only place that we post our recording schedules. And recordings are free to attend. You just have to follow for free on either Ko-fi or Patreon to see those schedules or continually checking the page. And if you really like what you've heard, consider tipping us. You could tip us during the stream like, what was her name again now? Lauren?
Lauren.
Lauren. Oh my goodness.
Lauren. It was
Lindsay?
Lauren, Dave. Jeez.
Anyway, Sharon D's internet went out. That's why she disappeared. But consider tipping us and what was I saying? See, this would get cut out in the
Consider
pre-recorded
tipping us,
episodes. Well, consider tipping us like Laura, Lindsay, Lauren did during this episode, and your support will show up on the stream forever. Or you can tip us whenever, and you'll get access to our unedited episode recordings, as well as a couple of other things when you tip us, including Dave's notes, which will be up tonight for your reading enjoyment. Some of the finer details of which would never make an episode, but is an interesting read at least. But you can also, along with tipping, you can also join a membership tier for as little as $1 a month and receive at least Discord access, the unedited episode recordings, and a whole host of other baseline perks. Head to the shop. There's some free items for even people who join at the Walkers tier, which is just $1 a month. So take a look at that on either Ko-fi or Patreon. And with that, everybody, we have to actually say who one of the perks that Whisperers and Survivors tier, the mid and upper tiers, get are shout outs at the end of every episode. And they are, starting with the Survivors tier, we got at Real Ryan GM, who was instrumental to raising money last Sunday. I'm going to say it again for Takira in our Snap charity auction, as well as at Elisa Jones 71 or at Jones AJ6 on Twitter, and the former was Instagram. Fanart Lindy, who you can reach at ko-fi.com/fanartlindy. And on to the Whispers here members, we've got at Judith.Morn on Instagram, Aiden Atkin, who you can reach at ko-fi.com/Aiden Atkin, at Tyler Phillip Cox on both Instagram and Twitter, at Sandy.D.Morrison, and at Lois.Martin.54 on Facebook. We've got, and Mitchell, of course. I love it when Mitchell pops up in the Whispers here. Mitchell, of course, at I Found Them Rick G on X or Twitter. And new Whispers here member because of that auction, because she was very smart to use a membership tier to pay for one of the auction items. Kim Rowley, who you can reach at, oh my goodness, what is her socials? Well, on Facebook, at least.
Kim Rowley on Facebook.
Yeah, Kim Rowley. She's on Instagram as well, but we mostly communicate.
I don't know that I follow her on Facebook or on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I know that we do, but it's just I know her on Facebook. Kim Rowley on Facebook. Look for Kim Kim. No, I'm not going to spell her name. Figure it out. Kim Rowley on Facebook. You're the best. Around and nothing because Cobra Kai came up and. All right. Well. Thank you so much, everybody. I've been your host, David Cameo, and was joined by, until she disappeared from life and screen because her internet went out, Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, on all the socials, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And check out her YouTube channel because she just did a really good recap of the first round of webisodes for the original Walking Dead series. I highly suggest checking it out. It was just released last night, I think it was. Because time is irrelevant, or was it Sunday night?
Sunday night.
Doesn't really matter. It's the first thing on her YouTube channel. So head over to youtube.com/@PunkyBrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. Subscribe and enable notifications because she's coming out with more videos. She's editing one tonight, folks. Take care, everybody.
A
Tom.
Halloween one.
That's right. Yeah. So do the things. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, G. Wilsons. Thank you, Owen. Owen, amazing insights. Make yourself known on social media because I feel like I've seen you around, but I may haven't. Or maybe it was TikTok because I did finally promote these things on TikTok.
Thomas is texting me spoilers. Get out of here.
Well, fake spoilers. Anyway, G. Wilsons, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for making it tonight. Thank you, Carranza, for complimenting
I
me
love
all
you
the time.
guys.
So have a good one. We'll take care, and we'll see you in the next lovely
I might see any of you tomorrow if you're
Ooh.
interested in Found
on NBC.
on NBC.
That's right. Take care. Have a good
Check out
night.
my channel. Okay, bye.
Appreciate
Love
you,
you.
Owen. Owen, take care, buddies.
Dave, I don't know if you know this,
I haven't
but
stopped
do
the
you know the
stream yet.
song? That's fine. Do you know the song